All right, so today we have again another podcast episode. We have the original four, of course, with Destiny, EO, and now we have Mr. Pokey, and with the guest star being Artumbo, who we got to get on the podcast. We have the two best bug squashers in the whole entire Honkai Star Rail community. We got Pokey and Artumbo, who nonstop abuse the bugs in Swarm 5. So that's going to be who we have today. And today, of course, we have the topic of Jingliu and a lot of other things that I really want to talk about, especially with the assortment of creators we have today. Everyone with their own opinion. And I think I have some ones where I think we're going to be fighting about for sure. One thing for sure I want to get to real quick because, of course, guest star, we got to spotlight them for a quick second. Artumbo.
Yo, what's up?
I want to know real quick because I don't think I've ever got the chance to ask you this, nor have I asked any of y'all guys this actually, which is a weird thing because even since the first episode, I've never asked this as an introductory thing for everyone. But what was your first gacha game, or is Honkai Star Rail your first actual one?
Okay, I think do things like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon count? Because technically it's gacha, right? You're pulling for
Technically,
cards.
technically.
So I think it would be like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and then Hearthstone later on.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
Hearthstone. Oh, you're a big
Hearthstone. Yep.
card game fan, TCG
Yep.
fan. Yes, sir. That's fire. That's fire. Destiny. Is this your first gacha game, or did you play something else beforehand?
I've been playing gachas now for like 10 years.
Holy.
This is a curse. Maybe 10. I don't know. I would have to think about that, but either 10 or like maybe 8. But the first one was called Love Live School Idol
Oh
Festival.
no. Oh
Bro,
no.
that was I loved summoning, and I was like, oh, I love music games. Tap tap tap. So that was my
Holy.
first. I didn't spend excessive money though.
Now
My
you
first
do.
What do you summon in that game?
the cards, the girls, like they all. I mean, granted, once you like make a super strong team in that game, and I think that game is no longer in service, unfortunately, but
Oof.
you just keep like you summon the cards, and they all had like pretty designs. Some were seasonal, and that's all you gotta do, like just summon them.
Serious,
But
sir.
I didn't spend excessive money on that one because I was broke.
But now
Okay.
you do on Honkai Star Rail. You got that
Yeah.
C6 selling everything.
Oh my god.
All right, EO, is this your first one? I know for sure this ain't your first one.
Nah, dude. So my first one was Genshin. Like if
Ooh.
we're talking about what's the official kind of
Yeah,
gacha
gotcha,
thing,
yeah.
but and the only reason I say that is because I did play Fire Emblem
Heroes.
Heroes.
Mhm.
That
I
game
played
is
that
still
for maybe
going.
like 2 weeks because I was I mean it dropped at the perfect time.
Mhm.
Not Three Houses, but the one on 3DS, the first one that made a really big boom, that one came out. So I was super into like Camilla and all that kind of stuff. Like, oh, I want Camilla. And when I pulled, I got Camilla. So I didn't know it was a gotcha game at all, but I didn't understand how to play it either because it had the whole stamina system. I was
Mhm.
like, all right, I'm bored. So I stopped playing it. Then Pokemon Masters, and because it's Pokemon, I'm like, oh yeah, easy, bro. I'm gonna body the game. Then I found out that there were pulls, and I was like, oh.
Ooh.
But when Pokemon Masters first came out, it was super generous. It was very generous. So you wouldn't have known it was a gotcha unless you already knew that type of gameplay. I did not. So it wasn't until they rechanged the entire framework of the game and it became less generous that I understood this is a gotcha game. But by that point, I was already playing Genshin Impact. So yeah, that's why I kind of say like those are my technical first.
Mhm.
But the first one that I realized very quickly, like, oh shit, this is a trap, bro. My money is not safe here. It was Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, that.
What's funny is, if you don't mind me saying, for Fire Emblem Heroes, that's what first got me into it too. They released it, and I loved all those characters, especially
Hmm.
Camilla, and I was like, oh my god. And I still occasionally re-download that game, spend like $20, play it for a week, and then I uninstall the game again because I ran out of storage.
Oh dang.
And
You're like,
occasionally will get my money. Like every 6 months, it gets at least $20 from me.
that's how I used to be too. I used to spend like very little between months, rather than
Yeah.
I do now, where I summon for every effing character. Pokey.
Yo, I think my very first one, it was Summoner's War.
Oh,
Yeah, when I
shoot.
was like 14 or 13, it was Summoner's War,
Oh,
and I
like-
dropped $50 in the game. And then back then, it was a shit ton of money to me. It was like basically like a week of my allowance. Then I dropped $50. Like trying to get like I don't even remember what unit I was trying to get. I think it was a dragon. When I got an ice dragon, which was not a very good dragon apparently, and then after that I just got rage quit and I quit the game. That was my very very first one. And after that, I just never played gacha games ever again until this game popped up, which it's called Dragalia Lost.
Oh.
Holy shit, I was
Oh,
so
that game
hooked
was
on
so
game.
fun.
Yeah, it was so fucking fun, dude. And it was like super, super generous. And I basically like, yeah, then I wanted like so many. There was dragons, there was like you co-op, and then you go on Discord with your friends and like the timings perfect. Oh my god, that was so much fun. But unfortunately, I quit after a while because then I got back into like Monster Hunter, like Generations Ultimate, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, then after that, I had this whole gacha binge period. It was like Counter Strike,
Oh,
what do you
Lord.
call it? Grim Light, freaking like Artery Gear, Nikkei,
Oh, Lord.
like I can't remember. But I feel like I played so many gacha games in that period of time. I think like, but each one of them only lasted for like a month or ish, and then I just jumped. And then Star Rail was basically the one that I was gonna, okay, you know what, I'm gonna really replay this game because I really, really like turn-based. And
Mhm.
the game that I quit before Star Rail was Archery Gear, which was basically like a mech version of Epic Devons. And then the reason why I quit Archery Gear was because they were like super, super greedy. Like the publisher was Bilibili and it was super, super greedy with benefits, and they just kept sweet running benefits, and I just couldn't keep up, so I dropped it. And then Star was gonna come on. Oh, I'm like, shit, this looks pretty interesting, and there's no PvP, so there's no barrier to spend. I'm just gonna try it, and then yep, that's where.
Man said there's no PvP, and then is like one of the better persons in PvP in Honkai Star Rail.
Nah, bro, dude, I haven't played that for so long. Okay, technically not so long, but like I'm not super, super deep into it. Like some of the people, like dude, I've really seen people playing like 50 over matches, which is insane.
I
Because like a single match
know.
takes like 30, 40 minutes of match. Oh my god, that's so crazy.
Yeah, no, the PvP, bro. If y'all haven't already known, yes, there is a PvP server for Honkai Star Rail. I'll have the link in the description for that server if you're wanting to put your account to the test and go against other people. Really cool thing that you can do with your account. Really cool like community that's surrounding with it. They got leaderboards, they got patch notes for every patch that comes, all that type of stuff. Something you need to go try out for sure. But let's go into the first actual topic of the podcast for sure.
Oh.
What the world? Where did you just go? So for the first actual topic, when it comes to this podcast, we're going to be talking about Jingliu, of course, how amazing she's been, how absolutely broken she's been. There's been a fat ton of zero cycles. There's been a fat ton of different teams and perspectives when it comes to Jingliu, and I want to gauge how everyone's experiences when it comes to Jingliu. So Artumbo, with being our guest star, can you start it off? How do you feel about Jingliu, and what's your personal experience with Jingliu?
I'm completely taken away by just how crazy she is. Like, there's not much to say because she's just that impressive. I didn't know how crazy she's gonna be like when she released, but even if you have a low invested one, she just has so much. And like you saw Pokey's
Oh
what is it?
yeah,
Did a level 40 zero
that
cycle.
was
Like she's
insane.
crazy even
Yeah.
at low investment. So
That is absolutely, yeah. I saw that video too. I was like, level 40 Jingliu zero cycling MOC 10. Like at this point, like
I have
how?
returned. I'm also apparently I'm doing something wrong.
What do you
You
mean?
did that with a level 40 Jingliu?
Yes, he beat it
Bro,
with a
what?
level 40 Jingliu. Quite
I'm
literally.
still not able to do it with my level 80, man. Like I'm just barely missing the kill on the Joppa lady,
Oh
and then
yeah,
she
she's tanky.
survives, and then it goes into the next wave, and then I kill her with the very next attack. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Especially looking at that video, I'm like, wow. Like people, there's no way. Yes, Jingliu is insane, but at level 40, I'm pretty sure you can get any character to do it at this point. Seeing that Pokey did it with a level 40 Jingliu, or that just means she's just way too insane. Destiny, what about you? How do you feel about Jingliu?
When it comes to like her potential and like playing her, she's definitely really, really strong. She's already like one of the strongest characters on my account, and all I did really was like pre-farm for her. And then I was like, oh, okay, let me just like pump all my stuff into her and then see what happens. And then she's literally like on par with a lot of my top DPSs when it comes to the game.
100%.
Like she right now for my teams, it's either I do Jingliu and then like Zeal on the other side, or like I guess Daniel, but her damage at just the investment I've given her with not even perfect relics, mind you, is just really good. So I think she's really impressive. And I mean, to be fair, my profile picture is literally her. So like she's she's definitely one of my favorite characters, if not at this point my favorite character, especially because of like all like the vibe that she has and like her how she looks and all that stuff. So I'm definitely really impressed with how she performs. I'm
Po-
also losing my voice already, so
That's crazy. Pokey, what is your experience with Jingliu?
Oh, yeah, like Alice has mentioned. So basically, I tried to do the zero cycle level 40.
Nice.
Not gonna lie, it took a lot of testing. The stream basically it took me around 3 hours to actually get the run. But when I actually figured out the tech, which was basically running ER rope instead of the attack rope, it filled up the last energy required to cast another ultimate to basically get the run in. And the moment I discovered the ER rope, it basically took me like 2 or 3 tries and I got it. But to sum it up, I think one of the reasons why the 40 cycle clear was even possible was because that the biggest barrier to entry was low level units. It's not so much that their damage is super low because this is basically supplemented by your support, right? You got Bronya buffing, Qingyin buffing, Pela debuffing. So your damage is definitely going to be there. The biggest issue was survivability. And if you ever let the enemies manage to get a turn on you and then they just hit her and then she's probably gonna die. Yeah. But the thing with Jingliu and why she's so good in my opinion is just because of how many like potential extra turns you can get. But you can get her own extra turn with just the skill. And then Bronya can give her extra turn. And Ting Yun give her the ultimate, just lets her basically stay in the enhanced state for like the entirety of the match. And would have this permanent percent crit rate buff with like the attack buff and all that kind of stuff. So like one of the things which kind of reminds me of Diluted Lunar, not gonna lie, because like maybe the devs were thinking like, okay, the players can't use this 3 skill point enhanced attack every single time, because it's gonna cost too much skill points, so it's gonna have to balance out between 0 skill point and 3 skill point. And then with Jingliu, maybe they were thinking like, okay, Jingliu is never gonna be able to stay in this spectral transcendent stage, transmigration state for like the entirety of the battle. So there's gonna be downtimes, and not gonna lie, when she's not in the spectral transmigration state, her damage is like so dog shit. It's like it's
Nah,
literally
facts,
night and day.
facts.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's like Yanqing without the social thing. It's super bad. But like, yeah, but if players figure out a way to keep her in that state, then she's just gonna consistently deal so much damage. So before she even leaves this stage, the enemies are already probably dead, which is kind of why she's looking so strong. But honest to God, I think if we get more difficult content in the game in the future, maybe they come up with like, oh my god, here I am with the crazy taste. I remember that time I was like 5
5
Kafkas.
Kafkas.
Yeah, like in the future, if they were to release some stages, like maybe MOC goes beyond like 2 or 3 cycles, maybe it goes to 4 cycles, maybe 5 cycles, like 5 different stages of the boss, then there's definitely going to be periods where Jingliu is not going to be able to stay in this state. And when that happens, then I think we can definitely see the damage falling off by quite a bit. Because right now, it's just like, oh my gosh, she's doing so much damage in this short period of time because like everything is already dead. But if we fight like longer contents, then there might be an issue. So that's my experience. Huge.
That is Omega True. But one quick question: why level 40? Like, why that specific?
Bro, it's a genuinely just an arbitrary number that happened. There was no relation, nothing. It was just I thought, okay, you know what, level 40 sounds like I'm just gonna do level 40. Yeah.
Man just booted
There's
up
no
stream and said, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna do MLC 10 0 cycle with the level 40 Jingliu."
Yeah, I woke up and chose this.
you woke up and was like, today's the day.
Yeah.
Hey, no way. EO, Jingliu, how is it, bro?
So I don't know if we've all said this or not, because I was having the audio thing, but I've learned that this is apparently a hot take. I don't think it is based off what I've been hearing. I think Jingliu is now the best character in the game, not even just based off of damage. And of course, like we'll say DPS, right? I'll say the best DPS character in the game, damage dealing character in the game. I think she's the best, and I have good reason, but I think that if we have to bring up tier lists, she goes in the same tier as Daniel, but I think she's overall a better character than him. Everything that y'all have said, the level 40 thing, which Poke mentioned just now, the outside of the, I call it Bonkai, because Transcendian is like a really long word that I don't feel like pronouncing. The outside of Bonkai, even with that, when you have a proper team setup, so we'll use giving everybody their ideal scenario, which in this case is Bronya plus Jingliu, you're only outside of Bonkai for maximum 1 attack. After that, you immediately go back into Bonkai. You start doing whatever you need to. You get your ultimate back almost immediately with or without the ERR rope. If you add Ting Yun into that, you never leave Bonkai. Ting Yun plus Bronya with the right setup, you practically never leave her transcendent state. And before you do leave it, they're dead. Because we only have 2 cycles now in MOC. And I don't know why they even reduced that, because it's like they made it easier, but then they gave us these crazy ass strong characters. to just make zero cycling way more possible. And so now you get it to a point where if we did have 3 cycles, maybe we could start talking about some different adjustments or like if they're balanced or not. Right now, nothing's balanced. They just clean cut everything across the board, and she makes it so much easier to do that. I love it. And maybe it's the ice weak enemies, but her and Daniel share that, right? They don't really care if you're weak
That is
to
true,
ice or
100%.
imaginary. They're just gonna blow you up anyway. And even better is the fact that if they're not weak to ice, 9 times out of 10 they're weak to quantum, which means you just give her the quantum set, and now she gets even stronger. So it's kind of dumb. She's a very strong character. Ease of use, very easy to pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely up there for me. Best character.
I think personally, like, yeah, I, in my opinion, this also might be a hot take. Not only do I think she's right, well, no, this is a lie because I think she's better than Imbibitor in my honest opinion. I just think, in my honest opinion, that Jingliu, not only is she Omega easy to use, and she pumps out damage like it's nothing. Like, she does her skill, gets into Transcendence State or whatever. Ult is doing like 200k. Her skill is doing like 300k. It's like non-stop damage on top of damage. And at the same time, this is why I think it's better than Imbibitor Lune, in my opinion, is that her skill point usage is basically not there. Like, her being able to use these attacks, the enhanced skills, and her not wasting skill points for the small price of taking that 1 or 4% damage that she takes out of your ally's health, that's nothing. If you have a healer on the team like Locha, like Lynx with the continuous healing on her ult, it's not really going to matter at all because they're all just going to get healed right back up. And I put characters like Blade, like I've always talked before, how I always put him in like the best character in my honest opinion. I put her and Blade right next to each other just because I'm not only looking at it in the terms of damage, but how far can they go in the future, how long they can last. And seeing Jingliu not use as many skill points as traditional main DPSs, and seeing Blade do the same thing, this not only offers them to go to the point where they're able to be a hyper carry or a single DPS, but I can see them being sub DPSs in the future, especially Blade, because the man only uses 1 skill point for 3 attacks, has a follow-up attack, can heal himself. Jingliu is the same thing. 2 skill points on a Omega positive team with having your support or your healer, your sustain character fast enough to generate a bunch of skill points. Jingliu at a certain point isn't going to be using them for 2 turns, maybe 3. And then you have your main DPS. He can use those 2 to 3. He can use that 1 that he's probably going to use every turn. I just think Jingliu is, not only is she Omega strong in DPS, but I think her like investment in what players can have with summoning for her is going to carry them a long way. I just think that she's going to be one of the longer lasting DPSs for a very long time. Like, to the likes of Kafka and even Blade. I think those characters are going to last a super long time. As in comparison to Jingliu, she's just way too insane with her skill point consumption, in my honest opinion. I don't know. I just have to. I can't wrap my head around it, in all honesty. That's the crazy thing. Jingliu is Omega cracked out. But I do want to go into the first question talking about Jingliu. Of course, we already talked about all the things that we need to say in regards to our personal experience with Jingliu. But I like to say this, not like to, because this is a topic that's a little, I don't know how to say if it's controversial or not. But people have been talking about it, especially with the new PlayStation players coming out and trying the game out, playing the game, and this is their first banner. Is Jingliu a must pull, or should they look to pull for her? Because a lot of people, of course, the PlayStation players, they want to know. They don't know how, all these characters are compared to Jingliu. And for veteran players, they want to see if she's worth it as well, because they see everyone zero cycling, everyone doing crazy amounts of damage. Is she a must summon, or should you try to pull her while she's still here for new players, for veterans? What do you think, Pokey, about this?
Okay, I can't really say to full confidence because I actually didn't test out how good Jingliu is without her Lightcone. Because what I'm hearing is that if she don't have her signature Lightcone, the damage falls off by quite a bit. I believe it was like somewhere around the line of 15 to 20% compared to like S5 for the Aeon.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have never tried it with her Lightcone before, so I can't really say. But if she can still have the current comfort that a lot of players are using, especially with like E0 S1, then I think it's looking pretty good. But on the other hand, it's also because they are gonna be hit with Jingliu, with Popes, right? These 3 banners for PS5. Honestly, personally speaking, I still prefer Silly to Jingliu. Because
Oh.
just because, especially as a new player, like if you have Silly, you're eventually gonna be able to form your mono quantum teams and then set up the you save a lot of resources running a mono quantum team. And like I mean casuals and like this kind of they don't really care for zero cycles anyways, right? And mono quantum team just helps you save so much more resources. Hence you can always just run these 4 units and they're like super safe to use, right? Fusion is just crack AF, or if you don't have fusion, you can just run link as well. And then if you don't have links, just run the on element like Silver Wolf, Sele, plus a healer and a support. That Silver Wolf and Sele just makes it like so much easier and more comfortable to play. So and I mean Sele even now, I still think Sele is pretty damn good. Like she can still zero cycle very comfortably. She still works super well with Ronya, King, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I personally I would prefer Sele to Jingliu or Topaz. Yep.
Oh wow. You know what? I can actually back up his statement about Sele being absolutely crazy because, like I said before, that there's a PvP server people can like test out their accounts and stuff. Grim Sele actually brute force Yanqing in MOC 10 in one cycle. That was absolutely insanity to see that. He absolutely like trashed on Yanqing with his Sele. And guess what? He didn't even use Silver Wolf on that encounter. There was no quantum weakness or nothing. He just brute force straight up, just did damage to Sele. I mean, to Yanqing. And I was like, holy. And I was like, and people are saying Sele is falling off. People are saying Sele isn't as good anymore. I was like, come on, man. Like, there's stuff you
No more
see.
Mars truck, right?
Yeah. Wait, what was it?
There's no more of that. The new MOC that we have doesn't have any Mars truck
On
enemies,
the
right?
second. Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any at all in the
No.
MOC right now.
There's just a bunch of fish.
Oh yeah, so that heavily favors Sele for sure. But for the fact that she could still brute force MOC 10 bosses in under 2 turns, that's absolutely insanity. Destiny, what do you think about Jingliu? Is she a must pull, or should PlayStation players try to pull for them? What do you think about it?
Okay. I kind of think the same way I did last time, where it's like with the assumption these PlayStation players are new players, right? Or like not just continuing their account, right? Okay. So with the assumption they're new, I still think that the options for 1.4, like all 3 of the options, all have a lot of value for what they can provide for you. Like I still think Jingliu is really good, especially for the damage we've seen now that she's out. She's one of the strongest characters. Zila though is still also one of the strongest characters. So like both of them operate differently, and I feel like if you're doing Zila versus Jingliu in this case, let's just say they're 100% summoning someone in 1.4. That's their choice. I think you could honestly go for either. I play both of them like religiously. So like even when I didn't get copies of Zila, even at E0, she's still super strong. Like in my opinion, her Eidolons are really good, but the same thing with Jingliu. You don't really need them. They help for sure, but you don't need them. They're perfectly functional in my personal opinion at E0. So I feel like when it comes to okay, which one do I pick? Honestly, I feel like it depends on which character I suppose you get from the standard selector, because I'm assuming PlayStation players still are able to get that. If it's a DPS or if it's a support, like hypothetically, if you get Yang Cheng, you might feel like okay, while Jingliu may be able more to do the AoE side of things, you still might want to look at. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm actually losing my voice. When you look at Zila, you're like, okay, well, I want a quantum character. So I think it depends on the elements you have as well, especially as a new player, because I think that's really important. But granted, it I think between those two, it just depends on who you want more. Now, for Topaz's case, hypothetically, she, from what we know officially, like she helps out with follow-up attacks. So let's say on the standard selector, you get, if I'm not mistaken, the only 2 that do follow-ups is Clara. I don't remember specifically if Yang Cheng does follow-ups. I'm pretty sure he does though.
He does.
But
Yeah,
I
he
don't know
does
how.
this.
Yeah.
And so
Are
does
they
Himiko.
are they as oh yeah, Himiko too. Are they as I don't think they're as consistent though as Clara, right? Because Clara just keeps doing
Yeah,
it.
no, there's not really
Absolutely
too many people that are
Right.
consistent like Clara.
Yeah. So let's say you got Clara. Well, that opens the doors way wider, in my personal opinion, for a character like Topaz. Because now it's like, oh, I want to focus on my Clara team. I'm a new player. What will improve my Clara team? Okay. The answer for that would be something like Topaz. So I don't think Jingliu is a must pull by any means. I think she's an incredible option to go for. But if you are interested more so in the other characters, they have their value too. So it kind of just depends on who you want at the end of the day. But if you're like, just for a real quick, if you were a current player then it's more so on what you're missing at that point. Because
Mm-hmm.
some current players already have Zila. If you already have her and Jingliu interests you, then I just say to go for Jingliu. Because now your second team, you basically have two incredible options for
Oh, heck yeah.
DPS for both sides. Like you're good. So that's my personal thoughts on it. I don't think she's a must pull, but she's really, really up there on value. And for new players, it just depends on who you want the most and what kind of team you're trying to build. Oh my God. Build.
She's losing
Build.
it. All right, EO. Jingliu must pull. Should new players pull? All that type of stuff.
I mean, she kind of said everything that I would have wanted to say. I don't think that I don't really think there is a must pull right now that's a DPS character. And again, it just, as a new player, it depends on what you get for your first 5-star. That's my biggest priority is like figure out what your first 5-star is and then make a decision on who you want to pull. I understand for me, I'm like, okay, I want Jingliu. I'm gonna pull Jingliu. At that point, that's not really a meta discussion. That's a I want this character, so I'm gonna get this character kind of thing. But when it comes to, I don't know, you get Yang Xing. Okay, well, by the time you get enough, by the time you get far enough to where MOC would even start to be a challenge, you would have had another limited 5-star character, or you would have had enough time to save up and get one or two more limited 5-star characters. So I wouldn't say prioritize Jingliu because at that point now you have someone that's on your account that you more than likely won't use. You're not going to use Yang Xing over Jingliu in almost any scenario. But if you end up getting Bronya, well, now it's like, okay, I have Bronya as my first 5-star. My options for like controlling the game, controlling the DPS, they're limitless. I could get Jingliu now. I could pick up Topaz. I could pick up Zila. I could pick up any new DPS character coming out in the future. It is what it is. So the general answer is nah. I don't think she's a must pull. I think she's highly valued. I think that out of what we have available and without I guess like in my dreams,
Oh my God.
Ain't no
I think
way.
she's gonna remain like top 3 the entire way through. So because you have to work really hard to either adjust the game, which we've talked about this every single cast. You have to change the game, evolve the game, make it harder, whatever. And now we can start talking about, okay, who's falling off, who's remaining as powerful, things like that. If they don't do that, and we take the information that we have available to us through our dreams, then top 3, she's not going nowhere. You could pick her up now, you could pick her up later. Any of the top 3 that we have at the moment, you're good. Anything right beneath the top 3, so like top 5, top 6, you could pick those characters up. The game is at a point where it has to become more difficult to justify pulling for this much power and then saying, oh yeah, but meta. At this point, it's not meta. There's nothing meta about I pulled Jingliu because of meta. Nah, dude, I want to kill people with Getsuga Tensho across the board. That's why I pulled her,
Yes,
she looks like
sir.
2B, and then she goes in a Bankai. Her personality is like Unohana. There's a lot of reasons why I like Jingliu. That's the reason that I get her. As a new player, that would be the reason that I get her. But it is what it is.
Artumbo, what do you think about Jingliu? If she is a must pull, or if new players try their hardest to get her before she leaves, all that type of stuff.
Okay, this answer might sound a little. I don't believe any character in the game is ever a must pull, but from my perspective, I like to build every single character, and I think you can make everyone work. So that's why I don't think anyone is needed. But if you are lacking an ice damage dealer or like a lot of people will want, one of my recommendations is get that 1 or 2 DPS characters. She's a great pick. So I'd highly recommend her.
Me personally, when it comes to must pull, now in my opinion, I think there is one only must pull character. That's literally it. One must pull, and to be honest, I'm starting to get iffy if there's still a must pull, but it's Silverwolf, of course. I think she's like as close to it as you could probably get must pull. If she's not, she's like 1% off of it or something like that. Cause she's just that strong, and she literally breaks the core rules of the game, which is already like that's broken as it is. But for Jingliu, when I look at it, of overall looking at the damage that she's doing, and she's over here doing crazy stuff like we've already been saying before. I look at it as an investment type of thing. And if you pull Jingliu right now, in my honest opinion, I think you will be set for a super very long time. Like I think she's going to just stay for halfway or maybe the whole, not, well, this is a little bit of exaggeration, but she's going to be there for a super duper long time. Like I'm saying, I'm emphasizing the skill point cost that she has and her viability of being a sub DPS, which we're going to be talking about in a quick minute. But her viability as a sub DPS, same with Blade also being able to be a sub DPS with their skill point consumption. Kafka ending up being a support character, I guess you could say, because she's not really the one that's doing the, I don't know if you could say the damage, because she's the one like proccing the damage. She's not the one doing it, I guess you could technically say. These are the characters, Kafka, Blade, and Jingliu, that I think are going to last for like a super freaking long time. Now, I'm not saying characters like Imbiber to Lune or characters like Sela are going to like drop off like way hard in the future. But I do think as we get some different content, because I'm assuming that hopefully Honkai Star Rail decides to change up the way they do either MOC, or they bring in a new mode that's harder, or they change up the rules, do the thing we always talk about at every podcast where they add negative effects to the MOC, making it to where you're more inclined to use different characters than your main set of characters that you already have. I would hope that they would allow us, which I said again, we're going to be talking about this in a quick second, where sub DPSs are going to be a fat ton more viable, where we're going to need that much damage to be able to clear things, or we need to have a lot of what's it called, AoE damage to be able to clear things. I just think that with her skill point consumption and how much damage she's doing, that her viability as a sub DPS is a very strong thing. And if you summon for her right now, I think you'll be set for a super duper long time. Do I think she's a must pull? Not really, but she's right behind Silverwolf in my honest opinion.
Okay.
She's right behind Silverwolf in my honest opinion. I just think
Wow.
she has a lot of different options, and especially if you catch her right now, shoot, when her rerun comes, and you better get that Lightcone. that Lightcone's on some insanity when it comes to Jingliu. I just think she's super duper strong, and I usually
It's
don't
definitely one of
say
the best Lightcones in the game.
yeah, know that for sure. But the only problem is not as versatile. You can't put on every character. It's kind of like fine tuned for her. But speaking on Lightcones, that is the one thing that is our next topic, because I actually want to talk about this, and I know EO feels very strong about this topic as well. Is that Lightcones, is it still a scam banner, or should people always prioritize new characters over the Lightcone? Because I know some people are looking forward to getting Lightcones, and some people are like, no, I can never summon on Lightcone banners, because if I do, I'm gonna get scammed. I would rather want a new character than I would get a Lightcone that's gonna benefit like my favorite DPS, or the new sustain unit that's like an Omega cracked one like Fushwin's, where it's like healing you every wave, like some nonsense stuff like that. And people are looking at Jingliu's Lightcone as well, how busted that looks on her. But like, maybe I want Topaz, maybe I want Sela on her rerun, maybe I want Silverwolf or Loacha, whoever is coming out with the reruns that are coming out now since 1.4. Is the Lycone banner still a scam banner? Let's go with Artumbo first.
So the answer is it depends. There's no right. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this. For you have to look at it like case by case. I think for Jingliu, it's definitely probably the best Lightcone in terms of an upgrade over her next best option. Like Jingyuan's, for example, is great on many characters, and that's why I still think
Heck
that's
yeah.
more valuable. But I think we're at the point where if you really want to deck out a character, the weapon banner in this game isn't too bad. Like you lose a 50, okay, it's still kind of a scam, but it's not as bad as other games. So if you really like a specific character, you want to deck them out, then don't be afraid to pull for it. But there are good alternatives. Like S5 Eon is free to play and quite strong. So that's my take on it.
For sure. EO, what do you think about it? Because I know you talk about this a good amount when it comes
all
to
the
new
time, dude. I
characters.
think it's 100% worth it. Well, maybe not 100%, but 95%.
95%.
Yeah, I mean, because like it for me, the way that I play the game, and this is for any gacha game that I play, I really don't care about collecting characters. Now, if I really want the character, then yeah. But we have so much information available to us in terms of Hoyo drip feeding, so we know what going into 1.5. By the time I want to say towards the end of Jingliu's banner, we'll probably know what's coming in 1.6. Like a little,
No, for
they'll
sure.
probably drip
Yeah.
feed that too. So at least 2 banners ahead of time with a few days to a week to make your last minute decisions. Do I really want this Lightcone banner? I already have Jingliu. Do I want her Lightcone? The next couple of characters coming out, I don't really care for. Like I don't care much for. And then 1.6, that would give me like a whole patch to save up stuff. Do I care about what they've drip fed in 1.6? No, then I'm gonna get the Lightcone because I'm worried about enjoying my time now, not worried about enjoying my time 6 months from now or 3 months from now, 4 months from now, whatever. I cannot play, which is a big reason why I have the free to play account, it's so hard for me to even want to like play the free to play account. Not because I don't enjoy the challenge behind it, but it's the saving. I have to wait. It's like, oh man, if only I had this, or if only I could refresh a little bit, then I could try and get another relic piece, or I could max out this character. If only I could refresh. I don't want to wait to enjoy the game. I want to be able to enjoy the game right now. That's why I'm a big fan of, okay, I have this character. They're out right now. They're going to be very strong for the foreseeable future. I have the team to support this character. How do I make this character stronger? The Lightcone. Boom, I'm going to get it. The next character coming out, like Topaz, you can save. Oh, I pulled Jingliu. Should I get her Lightcone or should I save for Topaz? Do you even need to, like, can you use Topaz or do you just want her because you just want another 5-star character? That's where that conversation starts to dwell. And a lot of the free to play community operate exactly like that. They want a character. I have fun playing the characters. You can't even build this character. Like for as many people that are in the comment section, not this one, but like Reddit, other people's YouTube videos, there's so many people like, yeah, I have Jingliu, but she's only level 45. You can't even use it. You know what I mean? Like you're not even doing what she's supposed to be doing. And you're talking about you're waiting for a Topaz. You can't wait for Topaz so you can try and pull a Topaz and lose the 50-50.
That's crazy. You just wished on everyone's downfall.
No, dude, I got cursed, bro. I got cursed. Everyone has to, for the next week, everyone has to get cursed. And the only way the curse is removed is if I get an E1 Jingliu off like the next 10 to 20 pulls, right? Fresh pity, next 10, 20, boom, you got an E1 Jingliu. Cool. Everybody else, good luck. All right. I'm gonna give maximum luck to everybody else again. But as for right now, no, sir.
Oh my lord.
Bro, a hater by heart.
Facts.
A little bit, a little bit, a little bit.
Man was like, everyone, I want everyone lose their 50-50. We getting E6 by losing here.
Have to, man. Have to.
Pokey.
They gave me Bailu, bro. Bailu and Himiko's Lightcone. That's what made it the worst. I'm like, oh, better Lightcone banner. I could have gotten something else, right? Another Bronya Lightcone, maybe. I don't know. Nah, Himiko.
Man,
why? You don't like Himiko, bro?
I don't like her Lightcone.
All right, Pokey. What do you think about the Lightcone banner? Is it still a scam banner, or or people should keep just pulling characters?
I think I have a pretty similar opinion with Artumbo, which basically is like it really depends on what the player is trying to derive enjoyment from Honkai Star Rail. Like some people could be like, yo, you really just want to get a few select characters and then build the best you could possibly build, and then you just see some huge numbers and then just let them carry you throughout the entire game. I think that's a very efficient way to go about enjoying Honkai Star Rail. You basically don't spend as much resources to build so many different characters, to build so many different relics, and then it basically takes you less time to get to where you want to be, which is, I guess, the end game, MOC, some and whatnot. There can also be another type of player, like they just want to collect characters because, characters are basically what makes the game play, right? You need the characters, you see the skills to the outs, and definitely there's going to be people who literally just want to collect and just play as many as they can, even if they are not doing the most amount of damage because they have to like divert their resources and just spend on so many people. Even if they don't have all of their signature Lightcones, they have to use their personal substitute, they deal less damage. But if they can still clear the content, eventually at the end of the day, then does it really matter if they get there faster or do they get there sooner? Because right now, for what you see, even Hectone, literally pure free to play, didn't pull for a single Lightcone banner, and he has gotten 30 out of 30 MOC, and he literally just got the very first Lightcone banner on Jingliu, right? So it's definitely doable to reach the endgame content. It's just a matter of time, and it's not even said it took really, really long. I think it's only been like 3 months, and respectfully, Teton barely even plays the game that much. Like he's not super concerned with meta, and he still cleared and beat the game, technically speaking, in 3 months. So I really don't think it's like it's that important to play Honkai Star Rail like efficiently, as efficient as possible. You don't want to do overall farming, if you don't want to do limited universe, if you just want to like do some random builds and eventually get that slower, but you're still gonna get that eventually. I think that's perfectly fine. So it really just depends on what the player wants. For me, if I was a free to play, then I would go with the same route as you. I want to be efficient. I don't want to waste my resources all over the place and just get there as soon as possible. And it makes me feel like, okay, yeah, I'm being efficient with my resources, and that makes me feel good. But I can also definitely see the other spectrum where I want to collect everything and just try out everything, which is what I'm doing right now because I'm not free to play. Yeah, but that's my take. There's 2 different takes on it. So yeah.
Content creator illness, must build everything, must pull everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Destiny, what do you think about Lightcone banner? Scam, or everyone should just be playing characters, or what?
honestly, the truth of it, it's a scam when you don't win that 75-25.
Nah,
Like,
that's facts
oh
though.
my goodness. I've had that happen a few times and I'm like, it might be time to uninstall for like about a week. I'm done. No, but it's so dependent on the character. Like if it's harder to recommend it for people who are free to play because there's always for the most part there's always a relatively free option that is doable and gets the job done for the most part. But let's say if you are like, I guess, a low spender or even, I mean, if you're a high spender, then I think you're going to do it regardless. But let's say if you are on the lower spender side of things, or you only have enough to guarantee like the character and the Lightcone, but you don't know if you want to do the Lightcone and character or if you want to do a character and another character. Because that's kind of what it comes down to when you equate a lot of the pulls, because the pity is only about 10 off. So you're basically giving up another character at that point. So it comes down to if that's worth it for you. Well, oh my goodness, I need water, but I just I'll drink water. But
I got a
what?
oh,
Go ahead.
I got a fun question if you're all willing to answer it.
Okay.
How much have each of you spent on the game?
All right, so that's the end of the podcast, guys. So
$20.
Ooh.
After this previous one, this Jingliu's banner, what was that? Almost 3 basically. I think it was 250. But I'm just gonna round it out to 3.
$300?
Yeah, 300 from like the last banner because I got cucked. And then each banner, I haven't spent more than 150, 200 per banner, but a lot of the banners I've gotten pretty lucky on, like early pulls. Or I'll have to go all the way to pity, but then I'll get it on the very next 10 pull or something like that. So I'd still end up spending like one shot. How many banners have we had so far?
Should be 8 so far.
What's 8 times 150 or 7? What's like
So
okay,
you're
hold on.
probably in the 1,000 range, maybe.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the 1,000 range for sure. For sure. I was trying to think if I went to 2,000. I don't think I've breached 2,000
I think
yet.
mine is there. It should be
God
because
damn.
I think mine is around 2 to 2.5 because you know, Lightcone, the character of course as content creator illness goes. So that's that right there. Not only that, I also spent on day 2 from 0 to 300 pity on the standard banner. So I could so that I could get Bronya because Honkai Impact player must that was a
I
must.
know someone else who did that.
I had to. It was a must. So I did 0 to 300 content creator illness. I got E2 Server Wolf because again Honkai Impact. And then I also, which this was such a bad thing, but also is benefiting me like crazy now. I max refresh from the first week of the game all the way up until Kafka came out, I think. So I did all that and now I'm TL70. But bro, those credits don't play. You get 100K every day. That junk is goated. You get
It's the
so
credits.
much.
He's like, man, that real world currency, nothing. That digital currency, everything.
Nah, facts. No, you get so many credits being TL70. It's not even funny. But yeah. Also, I used to buy. I think I've bought, except for like 1 month, one patch, the XP, the Lightcone XP, the trace material boxes, and maxed it out. I bought those 2. So yeah, should be around 2 to 2.5.
Oh my god. I feel like if I ever call my bank and ask, they might shut down my bank account.
That's crazy.
They're like, you're irresponsible. It's definitely a few thousands though. Like the first week, I splurged like crazy. I'm gonna explain what happened. I was in a Discord call, so I wasn't paying attention. I was getting so pissed off that I couldn't pull a single Himiko. I kept pulling on Zila's banner, and that's how I got E6, by the way. I didn't even care about the E6. I'm like, I need a Himiko. So I looked at that $100. I just kept clicking it. Like, I literally just kept clicking it. And then after that, I checked my account. I think I almost fainted. And I was like, okay, we're not doing this again. I'm going to keep track of all my funds. And now I'm fine. Like I had enough money to do that because I was like, let me support the game, you know? But I want my Himiko though. I lost my mind. And that's why I have so many of the standards with high Eidolons. Like teaming up with me in PvP is like their worst nightmare because where points are gonna rack up
you're
so
bricked.
fast.
You're bricked.
Yeah,
for
account's
PvP.
bricked.
I'm PvP bricked. No, but like if I team up with somebody, they have to like not have spent as much as me. But like if I teamed up, I feel like with almost anybody in this call, it would be fine. Because I'd be like, listen, I can't use this. but you can use this. You could take the Zila. You could take the Bronya. You could take almost all the standards. I don't want them.
All the
I'll
standards.
I'll use like the other limiteds because all of the other characters beyond like Zila banner, I only pulled E0 or E1, and that's really it. And
She-
some of them I got E1 on accident, and I'm like, what the
her
what the
brick,
heck?
her brick Luocha with E1.
Oh my god, E1. Bro, I got him so fast. I literally pulled him and I was like, okay. I wanted Yukong. That's why. I didn't even care about getting extra loaches. I'm like, I want Yukong E6. I got her to E5 though, thankfully, but I had to sacrifice basically getting another 5-star. Because all I did was like 20 or 30 more pulls, and then he was like, I'm back. Hello. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's
Okay. I mean, I
tragic,
can't be
bro.
mad because I didn't have to do like another 90, but whoa.
But on
But yeah,
Luocha though.
that's the answer. But now I only like I just go for the E0 and the Lightcone and call it a day. And usually that doesn't cost too much.
Yeah.
And because of the banners being like 3 weeks spread out usually, it's basically like you're spending like 100 to like max 300 a month if you really want to think about it to make yourself feel better about it. But then you think about that's a few AAA games.
That's what I be thinking about. Like after I lose 50-50, I was like, dang, I really could have bought this skin in League of Legends.
Oh my gosh.
Golly.
I could have
bought
bought
all
this.
these Fortnite skins, man. All these anime skins coming out. I could have bought some
I could have bought a
Fortnite
game
skins.
with that money, bro. It's only when I lose 50-50 I think about that. Whenever I win, I'm like, yippee.
feel that.
Yippee!
Pokey,
Nah, that's
how much you spend, man?
Yo,
How much you spent, man?
Yo, for all,
$20.
That man's
yeah, I
like,
spent $20. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Ain't no way. I know this man. This man is also a mega bricked person to have on your PvP team. This man got mega.
Oh.
No, actually, no, that's not really. I don't have a single E6 actually. My highest island is E2, and that's like half and zero. Everything else is E0, if I'm not wrong.
I
Wait,
want
Imbibitor Lineage too, right?
3,000
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. Oh my
Ding
god, I completely forgot about him. Yeah, yeah. I just assumed that his E2 was his E0. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. He's
That
like, yeah,
man's-
man, he's not really a real character until you get him E2
Yeah,
anyway.
facts.
Yeah, yeah, it's like
Normal
playing the trial version versus the full version. It's like playing Fruit
Oh,
Ninja
wow.
Lite, and then you gotta unlock it, you know.
His
Oh my
E0 to
God.
Pokey is the at home Don Hung. He's like Don Hung at home is E0. He's like, oh, what do you mean you don't get a turn after ult? That's so weird. Is that like a poor thing?
Yeah. For real, for real.
Bro, it's like, can we get McDonald's? We have McDonald's at home.
E0
Oh my
Don Hung.
gosh.
Yes, sir.
Artumbo, you gotta answer the question too, my man.
So I think I've probably spent around similar to Pokey and EO. I have one E6 character, and
Oh,
that is,
man,
of course, Luocha.
Well,
Oh,
Well.
you got Luocha E6?
Why him?
When- man, there's so many things that I just love about Luocha. But like, I'll just give you an example. When you look at his trailer and he goes protects that kid, he's like, "Kowakanayo." You're like, what? It was so sick. I
That's
just
what
love his
got you, huh?
character.
That's what got
No,
you.
no, no. That's just one example.
One is one. He better list out the whole
One.
trailer step by step.
He has a Google slide presentation on why he loves Luocha.
Why I
Could you
E6
imagine?
Luocha.
Wow.
That would be perfect to pop up right now.
He's like, oh shoot, I get to bring it out.
I've been waiting. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this moment.
E6
But-
Luocha.
But I actually got pretty lucky on his banner. When he released, like literally, I was at work, like in the office, so I pressed the pull button, got him in my first 10 pull. I went
Dang.
home, pulled again, got him again, and then I just went like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do it because I also wanted more Yukon. Like, okay, no, that's not the reason I went for it.
Cope.
But listen.
Dog.
And then I got
Angry.
I think in total it still costs around $700 to $800 to get him E6.
Mhm.
But other than that, I go for E0 S1 on every other limited character. So I think it's around 2,500 as well if I check.
Mhm. Dang.
But-
Damn.
That's crazy. So the only
Yeah, I
people,
got pretty lucky.
only
You
people
Yeah,
that
go
guys
ahead.
have some throwaway money.
What?
Well, to be fair, we
You
spent the
like
same amount.
2,500?
We spent around the
No,
same
I didn't
amount.
spend. Whoa! I didn't spend 2,500. Not on this game. No, sir.
That's a lie.
No,
He's
sir.
lying hard.
No, it's
bro.
not.
He's
No, it's not.
lying
No, it's
hard,
not. No, it's
bro.
not. No, it's
You
not.
have
No, it's
like
not. No, it's not.
E4 sell it. You have all the.
All right, so here, hold on, wait a minute. Everybody told their story about how they got an
Oh my
E6.
God.
Okay,
I
have
don't
E4
have
Cele
any
on accident.
Eidolons on Cele, and she's by far one of my favorite characters.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I got E4. All right, and you're not. This is why I have like my luck is ass in the game because of Zila. Okay, start the game. I missed the 10 pull. The very next pull, I got Zila. Went for the light cone. Got the light cone in 25 pulls. Went back to the banner because I didn't have any of the characters. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can just lose the 50-50. Cool. Pulled, got another Zila. Pulled 30 more times, got another Zila. We still had the double top up or whatever.
This
So I
man's
have
just
like,
flexing.
Yeah,
This man
facts,
is-
man. Just
I'm
saying,
telling
yo.
you, no, it was the worst, luckiest thing to happen to me in the game by far. And so when people saw it, they're like, "You're complaining about getting an E4 Zila, bro. You're getting the limited character." And I'm like, I don't need E4, like E2 max, cool. I want other characters. Like I needed Bronya, I needed Japard, I definitely needed Yang Qing. Never got him, never got Claire. I still don't have them on my account. So I'm like, all right, bro, I'm just gonna stop. So I stopped. I waited like a couple days. I talked to Grim, and then Grim hit me with this. He said, what did he say? He said, bro, how you gonna be a content creator, but you don't even have all the characters to like tell your people about? Like you can't even test
Oh,
them.
no.
And I'm like, dude, I played Yang Qing in the beta. He's like, yeah, but we're in the real game now. I'm like, fuck. And he's like, yeah, I mean, honestly,
Bad
bro, like,
influence.
listen, if you believe in your content, you believe in your channel, I would just pull
Ain't
because he'd
no
already had all the characters.
way.
He did it. He pulled all of them. And I'm like, I waited and I thought about it for like an hour. I said, fuck it, we ball.
That's
I
crazy.
pulled it. Got another Zila. I stopped immediately. I said, nope, whatever I don't have, I just don't have. That's how I got E4 Zila.
Fuck it, we ball.
That's insane,
Bro,
bro.
Grim peer pressured you into
That's
pulling.
crazy, dude. I going
E4 is
past.
pretty good though, right? It's the energy on a kill, right? That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, it's really
That's pretty
good.
good.
It's really
I
good.
always have ult.
I
Yeah,
always
that's-
know.
No, you do. It's
Oh
so good
my
for that.
god, there's no way. I don't know. Me personally, and this goes for Genshin too, I've never pulled anything past E2. I just feel like if I go past E2, I know I'm not gonna want to stop. Like I know, like once I get E3, I'm like, I'm halfway to E6.
You're an addict.
E4?
I think all of us need to go to group gacha therapy at this point. I think
Us.
us, yes, us. You have an E4, I have an E6, Artumbo has an E6 Locha.
That's insane.
Poke pulled the E2 Daniel
No,
because
I'm
he's
free to
a
play.
child.
I'm basically free to play. I spent $20, so I
That's
I can't
basically
relate to
free to
any of you guys. I can't relate. I can't relate.
Man,
I'm going back to my cardboard box where I'm sleeping tonight.
that man,
That's
man-
crazy.
Oh my
That man
God,
Pokey
you're
said-
like that Squidward meme. Free change.
that man Pokey said, I am free to play plus Nitro Deluxe Premium Omega Bundle Edition. That man,
Yes, sir.
man has that 3,000 years of game design in his account. That's crazy, man.
Oh my god.
All right, that well, at least y'all know that all of us are addicts and we need help. But
Therapy.
I-
Group therapy.
I
We'll all get better
still
together.
am lost for words at an E6 Locha. I'm not gonna
Okay,
lie.
No, listen. Actually, there's no justification.
I was like, you know what? You're right. E6 Locha is not bad, okay? By far, he is not bad. That is like one of the most cracked out E6s in the game for sure. Like 1000%. Right there with Inhibitor.
DPS character.
It makes him a isn't it a shielder, harmony, nihility?
The shield at E2 is more of a brick than it helps because
How?
it shields Blade.
Ooh.
It shields Blade when he ults.
Oh
Just
dang. Oh, I never thought about it like that. I don't
No,
know about
but the E6 more than makes up for it, so it's okay.
how is he with Inhibitor? That it
Pretty
penetra-
cracked.
Pretty cracked. Ooh.
Pretty cracked.
Dang, I would love to see an E6 Locha, but dang man.
The-
I've
The
played
thing
with one. They're
is-
fun.
It's
I
insane.
can't get an E6 DPS character because it'll make me not want to play or make me not enjoy the other
Oh, no, yeah, for
DPSs
sure.
as much.
No,
So
for sure.
if
understand
I
that.
did get an E6, it had to be a support that just won't break the game, like
Mhm.
Imbibe Lune or Jingliu.
Man got beef with Pokey. He's like, I would never eat two. I would never
No,
eat two Inhibitor.
my friend has, oh my goodness, I don't know if you've seen my E2 Imbiber Lune video. He got an E3 Imbiber
Oh my
just because
God.
it gave an extra basic level
Oh
and 2
my.
levels to skill.
That's disgusting. If that was your friend, I'd be like E3. I'm halfway to E6.
That's what I
Oh,
said. He's like,
no.
ah.
They get the imaginary
Horrible
penetration.
influence,
Bro,
man.
I promise you, bro.
This
That's
is
why.
why freaking Star Rail's grossing so much revenue. We're the problem.
That's fact. That's fact. I only have ever E2'd probably the stupidest E2, which is just Silverwolf. That's literally it. That's the only.
No, that's a cracked E2.
It's a good E2, but in all honesty, I feel like you get more value out of a lot of other characters E2s than you would Silverwolves. At least Silverwolf, I get to make her sub DPS, which is really cool in my honest opinion. Like I'm hitting 100k ult, 40k skills. Like it's fire. Like I love that. It's super fun. I'm looking to.
Flex.
I'm
Sorry,
looking.
that's really unrelatable. I'm free to play.
Right? Free to play,
I don't know.
Nitro.
These guys might be bad influences when it comes out, but Silverwolf comes back. I have been debating so hard about E6.
What's wrong with
I've been
bro?
debating
Relax.
super hard on E6. I'm not gonna.
I tell you
lie.
what. I tell you what.
What?
You could do that. You could do that
Oh,
if
I already know
if the
what's gonna
game
happen.
becomes
okay.
that
It will
like
never be.
that
It will never
much.
be to the
Yeah, yeah,
point
yeah.
where Silverwolf is dropping 300k ults or something like that and debuffing. Like she's gonna be the main DPS with another main DPS. Like it's just gonna be that
What's
stupid.
crazy?
What?
What's crazy is someone in my Discord server has E6 Silverwolf and E6 Blade, and they're like, "Oh, I don't pull anymore."
You don't need to after that.
E6
No.
Blade. I also want
No,
E2
they
Blade.
They use Silverwolf main DPS. They just body everything, and I'm like, "Oh my god."
I want to see someone with the E6 Blade with Jingliu. How many follow-up attacks do you get? Cause it's 4
lot.
stacks
Yeah.
to get the
Yeah.
follow-up attack.
I think you just win the game. I don't think.
I think
more
you can
pulling.
you can triple the amount of follow attacks you get when you're at E6 in like a Memory of Chaos fight.
That would be insane. Because you got Jingliu himself doing it, the enemies doing it. Like you're getting non-stop, like, and then like say you got Lynx, bam, you got the taunt on it. That is way too busted. Maybe I might E6 Blade too. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Even though it's my favorite character, I'm not doing that.
He says that, and then he's gonna do
He's
it.
Stop.
lying.
I'm not. I'm
the
not.
moment
Don't-
E6, the Blade banner comes back, he's like,
No.
"Oh my,
No.
I don't have to pull this banner. Let me just pull Blade."
Only character I will ever E6 is when a certain character comes from Honkai Impact. Might as well say goodbye to my bank account at that point.
Kiana?
Huh?
No, not Kiana, not Kiana. It's gonna be Fuhua.
He's a Fuha lover.
Yes,
Fuhua?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fuhua and maybe E2 on whenever Raiden May comes.
Raiden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she comes,
That's me. That's me
Yeah.
right there. Is
Raiden.
Raiden.
I'll
gonna
get
be,
E2
bro.
for that. I'll get E2 for that for sure. No matter, I don't care if it says minus 20 attack. I don't care. I'll just about get E2. I'll get E2 regardless.
Didn't we
even
just
if
talk
he-
about how we need to fix our gacha addictions? And just like I'm definitely E2.
And we're all like, yeah, E2 sounds good when Raiden comes out. It don't matter what. We don't even know the idol. We don't even know what she's gonna do. Maybe she's gonna be like, I don't know, a detriment to our character. Like, E2 still sounds good. I'm not gonna.
I'm
lie.
still gonna pull her E6 even if she heals the enemy.
Oh my god.
We have so many problems.
Yeah, fact. Don't be like us, please. I beg. All of us have problems, except Pokey apparently, because he's free to play.
Yeah, not me though. Yeah, I spent $20, so I'm chilling. Yeah.
I spent $20.
That's so funny.
He really got Mirror to Lune and Kafka dupes with like one multi. It was
Absolutely,
easy.
absolutely.
All
Way to
right.
play
Just pull
power.
better, guys.
Just
Literally just pull better.
just
Like, how
pull
hard can it be?
better.
Just get three 5 stars in a single 10 pull. That's how I got all the E2s.
You know what? Your statement makes a lot of sense because EO literally just did pull better. When he was subbing on his account, max pity, lost 50-50 both times. When he pulled
Why
for
are
a
we going
viewer's
over
account,
this?
he got both the Lightcone and the character in one multi. Out
Very
He was
bro.
about to. All you're gonna hear is Badoop and EO's gone.
that bro, and I saw that. I thought this was scripted. They had to plan this out beforehand. I was like, there's
Bro.
no way.
What made it even worse was like I thought, just like chat thought, they were like, nah, he's on pity. Check his pity. I go to his pity. This dude has not pulled a 5-star in like 7 pages, and I'm like, no, what?
No.
Like, how did you do the Lightcone banner? I go there, he's never pulled on the light. I'm like, bro.
That was insane, bro. You were the biggest blessing to that man's account and the biggest
Had to
detriment
have
to your
been.
own mental sanity.
Dude, I was so upset.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the next topic because we all were just, flaunting our
You didn't
addiction.
finish your topic.
What was the wait? Oh wait, did everyone finish the Lightcone
Lightcone.
topic or do who?
Yeah.
I thought we did.
No, I was mid. I
Uh,
was like mid thought, and then Art was like, "Wait, I have a question."
Okay. All right, go ahead. I think everyone
point,
else went right. Yeah, I
At this
think so.
point, it's Art's podcast, bro. He took it.
All right, go ahead. Finish your Lightcone statement. I didn't even give
Uh,
mine either.
Right. I honestly don't know where I left off. That's the worst part.
That's
like, I
crazy.
think it just depended on your account. I think that's what it is. Like for me, if there's a really good, like if I was low spender and I didn't spend on the Lycon banner, if there was a really good alternative that the character can use and it's not like a 20 to 30% difference, I would probably just not like go for it because I'd be like, oh, I have the alternatives, so I'm fine. But if it's a major difference and also if it's one of my favorite characters, like for Jingliu, I probably would have pulled the Lycone just because of how good it is and also because it's
Mhm.
Jingliu. But if it's like a supportive character, I think that's what it is. If they're a support, I probably would not pull the signature because like for Locha, that's the Lycone I skip.
Bro, that's the only thing in this game I regret summoning on.
I
That's
did
the
not pull his
only
Lycone at
thing
all.
I
I,
regret
I
summoning
I'm
on.
just using one of the 4 stars and like some of the 5-star Lycones for the supports are really good, but there's so many really good alternatives
Mm-hmm.
that you can use. So it's like, well, I mean, yeah, like I have these alternatives. Literally for Silverwolf, they made a free to play amazing 4-star option.
No,
They
yeah,
literally did
that
that.
was insane.
So they gave a lot of grace for the supports, I feel like, with alternatives.
Mhm.
I think when it comes to damage potential, if you really want to spice up your damage, then I think that's good. But even like in Zila's case, you can use cruising in the Stellar Sea. There's options. It's not just limited to okay, only signature. So it just depends on the character and how much you're willing to go for. And if it's a patch where you're gonna skip one of the 5 stars and because they revealed the drip marketing before the upcoming patch anyway, so
Mhm.
we already know what's coming in 1.5. So in that case it's like, well, if you don't want them either, then who's to say like what's wrong with pulling the Lycon at that point if you only plan to pull that character, if that makes sense. So yeah, that it's super situational. That's all it is. I'm an advocate for Lycone only in the case if you can afford it. If it's like you're fighting between Lycone or character though, then I would go for character most likely because we have alternative Lycones. But do we have alternative characters? Yes, but
Technically.
no. Technically,
Technically.
yes, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Do we have an art? Oh my god, I can't talk anymore. You know what? Next person.
That's
I need more
crazy.
water.
All right. Me personally, when it comes to light cones, I think I'm more in the line of EOS thinking from before, whereas like I would rather get this character and these sets of characters and then pull the light cones for them. Because of course, like Artumbo has already said, and I think Pokey said the same thing. You can beat this game easily without the light cones. It'll take a little bit more time. It'll take a bit more than someone who's like pulling all the light cones or getting all the light cones with the characters, but you can still beat it. And once you get to that point, you're gonna be at that point for a very long time, unless Honkai Star for some reason just dramatically increases the difficulty for some reason. But in my opinion, for certain light cones, I think it's worth trying to go and grab them because, but what is it's called Before Dawn, right? That's Jingyuen's light cone, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That light cone is by far one of the most cracked out light cones for an Erudition character. Like every Erudition character can use that light cone. Gives the crit damage, gives the ultimate and the follow-up damage buff, if I'm not wrong. You get so
Yep.
much out of that, and it literally goes on every single character. Every single character can just slap it on, boom, stat stick, all these bonuses. Everyone can use it. You can basically use this for any Erudition character that's coming out in the future. Those type of light cones, I for sure say it might be worth looking forward to looking at one of those if you're in the situation where you don't want the characters. Maybe even the next banner doesn't have characters that don't interest you at the current moment, and Jingyuan decides to rerun. I know you're not getting Jingyuan, but you might get his Lycone. But yeah, Lycones like those for sure. Like that one, I think Celes is a very good one for majority of the hunt characters too. But we do have the Herd of Lycone instead as well. But for some cases, there are Lycones you do want to for sure just not even look at. Silverwolf, in my opinion, not worth it. Unless you have E2 Silverwolf, because that's a main DP, not sub DPS Silverwolf Lycone in my own opinion. And Locha by far is my most regrettable summon ever in that game. I wish I did not waste money on Locha. I swear, is the most whack Lycone I have ever summoned on. I'm not gonna lie. But for the cases of like Jingyuan, I think out of all of them that are in the game, that type of Lycone you should summon on, in my honest opinion. For certain characters that are coming out, if you think you might not want them and you see Jingyuan's coming out, you should probably cop it because it literally goes for every character in that path. And with that path, having that Lycone always as an option, no matter if you're going to get the next character or some new character comes out that's for Erudition and they're strong, and you have Jingliu's Lightcone right there, you probably won't even need to pull for another Erudition 5-star Lightcone because Jingliu's is literally right there. It's just so universal, and that is such a crazy nice Lightcone. My only caveat with it is I prefer crit rate on the Lightcones than the crit damage. In my honest opinion, I think it lets you get more crit damage if you end up getting a crit. You end up getting a Lightcone that has crit rate, because then you can rock the crit damage chest. So for those Lightcones, yes. For a majority of the other ones that are very specific for like Jingliu or for other characters that their Lightcone really doesn't work on anyone else, unless you're specifically pulling for that one, then I guess. But if not, do not, because those are, in my opinion, the biggest waste. If you're going to go for a Lightcone that is by far just going to be on one character, you might drop them, then the Lightcone was wasted money at that point. But going on with the next topic, I want to talk about, since Jingliu, Blade, Clara, who's been getting a lot of spotlight, in all honesty, with a bunch of different showcases. Even Artumbo posting a Hypercarry Arlen, which that shocked the crap out of me. Seeing
I told y'all Arlen was good,
bro. He was doing 400k ults or something like that. I was like, what is going on? I was like, holy. But thinking about this, in all honesty, and EO again is someone who is very heavily looking into the same thing as me, Hypercarry versus Sub-DPS meta. What do you think about having the team building shift towards a Sub-DPS format rather than everyone is funneling all your resources into a one DPS character, instead of having, like the case right now with a lot of people using Jingliu and Blade, you're getting two characters that can do massive damage, and then you can pair them up with other characters that do AoE buffing, and you get a bunch of damage off of that. I'm gonna let EO lead this one off because I know he feels very strongly about this one.
I love it. I love that we're moving away from Hypercarry. I can't stand. I won't say that I can't stand it, but because Hypercarry is fine. I play it in Pokemon. It's fun to blitz your opponent, and they can't do anything about it most of the time. What I'm not a fan of is that it's become too normal to like do Hypercarry. It's no longer a, hey, what is this team, or how do you build this team, or like, could this team work? Is this team going to be a, not even viable? Could this team be considered a top team, right? And we get to a point now where it's just like it's Hypercarry or bust. I think finally with Topaz, we got teased about her. She's coming out. Blade works functionally as a sub DPS or main DPS. Jingliu surprisingly works functionally as a main DPS and a sub DPS. You have a lot more options to fit into that. And then Destruction as a whole, Destruction and Erudition, but mostly Destruction being like, it's the best thing in the game right now. And then Erudition is starting to fill a better role as a sub DPS. Now you're starting to see more people with Jingliu who does have 141 speed or 145 speed, whatever it is, so that he can get his 10 stacks on his own every single turn. And then you don't need to boost him with Ting Yun as strictly as we do, because we're forcing Jingliu to be a hyper carry. But if you just throw him in a sub DPS role, now you have Lightning Lord as a main follow-up attack, constantly goosh. You have all that crazy damage coming out. And it doesn't have to be, oh yeah, I need my Lightning Lord to hit 300,000 damage. I need 100k. I need you to shred these shields. You start to look at how can this character be used in this situation to help me achieve my main goal, which in this case would be like a 0 cycle, a 1 cycle, a 2 cycle. So if Jingliu having less crit damage but more speed, so that he can get max Lightning Lords every single turn, paired up with a Zila or paired up with Blade or Jingliu, whoever, if that combo of Ice and Lightning helps you achieve the 0 cycle that much easier with your Harmony character or your Nihility character, right? So like Pela, for instance, you could throw Pela on a team like that. Pela has AoE defense reduction. She helps the entire team. And then you have someone like Fu Xuan. Fu Xuan's going to try to keep everybody self-sustained. And then she also gives you the crit boost, which helps reduce things. And she gives you a damage boost. So there's a lot about these characters now that are formulating into properly built teams that allow you to play around and actually be creative with what you're doing in the game.
All right, Artumbo, because I know you've been building a lot of different characters. You've been using Herda, you've been using Arlen, Clara, all these characters that make really good sub DPSs. What is your take on the Hypercarry versus sub DPS, and are shifting either going into sub DPS, or you think we're staying into Hypercarry?
I think either way, since both are viable, it's good for the game because players get options. Some people prefer hypercarries. Some people prefer having multiple units be the stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like having teams where you have like a combo, like one
Mhm.
damage dealer, like Clara, and then you have someone else. Like you could run Blade Clara, like a follow-up attack team, and that could even work. But
Mhm.
yeah, you have so many options in this game, and like I love Genshin, right? I've been playing
Mhm.
since day one. My one gripe with it, I do like hypercarries, but you only like hypercarries in Genshin mean you stay on that one character 99%
Yeah.
of the time. In
Mhm.
HSR, everyone gets a turn, everyone gets to do their thing.
Mhm.
So it feels better, like from a gameplay perspective for
Mhm.
me.
Yeah, for Genshin, their hyper carries are a lot different than what Honkai
Yeah.
Star Rail is because I think the main two characters that are the main hyper carries are just Ito and Zhao, if I'm not wrong. Those are like the characters like you have to stay on them. If you don't stay on them, your team is basically done with damage because no one else is doing the damage for you. You're using everyone else to boost up the damage for them. Uh, in this game, I like personally seeing all of the characters do something in regards to, you have Blade with his animations, how cool he is. You have Jingliu also as well. They work together with, draining the HP, with doing the follow-up attacks with Blade, having all of this stuff happen together. And you get to see both their animations, which are so cool. You got Jingliu's transformation, her animations. You got Blade's follow-up attack, his ult. I love seeing animations. And the more better their animations are getting in the game, the worse it's gonna be for me because I'm gonna be like, okay, how do I fit 4 DPS characters on the team and not die? Because you get like the best animations out of these DPS characters, and I love it so much. That's why Jingliu and Blade is by far one of my favorite teams. They're so fun together, and not only that, they're almost as good as Hypercarry Jingliu, which I'm so happy of. If you have your account to that point where Blade is doing really good, Jingliu is doing really good, put them on the same team together, and it's over for the enemy. What about you, Destiny? How do you feel about sub DPS team building and hyper carry team building, and which one you prefer?
Usually, I just like doing like I notice I do this for almost all my teams. I always like doing the main DPS with 2 supports and then a sustain. I don't know why those team comps just speak to me, and like so I've always played a bunch of like RPGs growing up. And I typically when I build those types of teams, I just kind of follow that rule like, oh, I like doing, 1 support or 2 supports and then the sustain or tanker of the team. Obviously, like other RPGs have like healing potions and stuff, but typically I like putting someone like a tank or a healer, and then one or two damage dealers can work as well though. It just kind of depends. But in the case of Star Rail, when it comes to like what I like doing, I don't typically play hyper carry because if I'm being real, the speed tuning I have to do to like make sure everything goes correctly hurts my brain too much. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't feel like swapping all these relics and then remembering where to put them back.
Nah, facts.
Like,
I
because like
understand it.
if I say this out loud, I'm gonna get canceled. But
Say
like
it. Say it.
I only
So let
really
me
use
cancel you.
no, I only use Bronya, Pela, Silverwolf, and Yukong. There's a crucial person I'm not using at
No,
all.
there's 2
I
crucial
hate.
people you're missing.
Wait, who am I missing? Wait, I'm forgetting.
Ting Yun and Asta.
Okay, Asta is I'm gonna eventually get to her. It's
That's
just
crazy, bro.
I had such a focus on building like I build too many DPSs. I think that's also my problem. Like I have so many of them just sitting there like, oh, I'm ready to fight. But the problem is my supports also need it. So like I love Yukong because the buffs she gives are really good. And I know
Mhm.
like you need a lot of speed tuning though to get her to like do really good on a team.
Yeah.
Using her with Jingliu though, oh my goodness.
I've never used her.
Like
How is it?
I've tried it and you have to, oh my gosh, it's kind of annoying because when I did it, I made sure Yukong was faster than her, but the problem is because Jingliu has that advanced forward in her skill kit,
Mhm.
it kind of messes up the rotation. And I'm pretty sure maybe the solution is just giving Yukong more speed, maybe. I don't know. Like I'd have to give her a lot of speed to test it. But whenever I advance, Jingliu then goes before Yukong, and I'm like, oh, yeah, she's never getting Yukong's buffs anymore. So it kind of just like backfires. I use Bronya though a lot because Bronya is Bronya. I wish like I could duplicate Bronya because at that point I'm good. Just let me copy paste her into the other team. I will always win. But yeah, it's just I need to fully build my Tingyun. Like it's not like I can't use her. I definitely can. It's just there's a few of the characters I have kind of like, oh, I like using these. Like I recently just built up my Pela fully, and
Same though.
she's not even fully built. It's more like she's built good enough where she's 100% usable, but like to maximize, I guess she's not there yet. But regardless, I like just playing like a sub DPS with the main. So like Jingliu Blade, for example.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I also like doing. I don't know if this counts, but I like DPS Yukong. So like
I have
would
mine
do
DPS
Clara.
as well.
I do Clara Yukong, and Clara's ults. Not
Oh,
Clara.
wow.
Wow. Yukong's ults just do a lot of damage, so it just like it's nice to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what other teams I actually put a sub DPS because most of the time if I do put a sub, it's typically Blade because of his
That's why I love
non
Blade
skill
so
point.
much.
Yeah, like he's
It's
not
just
skill
that
point hungry,
good.
so it works.
Wait,
yeah,
have you used? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Have you tried using Blade on auto and then throwing Pella in the team?
I'm not. My
Why?
auto team right now is freaking. I don't know how it's actually working. Is Jingliu, Bronya, Pela, and Fushun? And I'm like, I
Oh,
don't know
no, that
how
team
these
is good,
characters are
yeah.
autoing right now, but they are.
No, that's
Dude,
good.
Pella will, when you have one skill point left and your next character is your DPS, she'll use her skill so that you have none,
Right?
and then
Blade basic. Blade regular basic.
regular
Oh
basic.
no, when I
Nah.
see Blade do his normal
Oh, yeah.
basic, I'm ready to just be like, I'm just gonna close out the game at this point. There's no way that just happened.
When I see that basic, I think it's a rare animation because I'm like, I never see that junk unless it's like auto
Right.
and they're really bad with skill points. They're like, all right, I'm gonna use this, and this for no reason, and then Blade, you're just gonna have the basic attack. You're gonna take the bun of me using your skill points, so that we can buff your damage, of course. But then he's like, bro, I can't do any right now. I don't have my
Right.
skill. Yeah, but yeah, I hate that so much. The basic on the Blade is so annoying.
So off
No,
topic,
literally. What's
Yeah.
up?
Destiny, you know how this morning when I was leaving, when we were going to get food or whatever,
Yeah.
and then I said the sky looks weird, and you were like, "Oh, it feels like end of the world, whatever." And I'm like, "No, it looks like an eclipse. Like it looks weird."
Yeah.
Today's it was a solar eclipse. I just happened to walk outside at the perfect time of getting the eclipse to happen. So the reason the sky was all like gray, but the sun was clearly out and there were no clouds is because it was literally like perfect moment solar eclipse.
That's crazy. What
I
the
had no
world?
idea. Yeah, like I
activated
really like
my
that
inner
kind of
moon.
I like phenomenons like that. So whenever I get a chance to see like the blood moon, I think I missed the last blood moon and I was really upset about it. And then I didn't even know today was a solar eclipse. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." I just saw it cuz one of the people on my Discord, they're like, "Man, I caught the solar eclipse just before it left." And I'm like, "Solar eclipse?" I was like, "Oh shit, that's what that was." So, continue, carry on. I just wanted to share that bit.
All
He
right,
was like, oh, now I have to edit.
Pokey. All right, what do you think about sub DPS versus hypercarry? Which one you prefer, and which one do you think we're shifting into?
Yo, so like okay, I'm just gonna base this off of like from a more mathematical standpoint.
Uh-oh.
So I'm just gonna I'm just throwing random numbers here, but
Mhm.
I think the theory pretty much holds true. So okay, wait, let me bring. So essentially, right now, let's just say like your unit A. Okay, let's just say Silly. Over the course of how many turns, she's dealing 100,000 damage raw, right? No supports, nothing. She's doing it raw. Then you throw in a Bronya, or rather all supports. They're basically like multipliers, right? They buff up your main DPS's damage by however percent. So let's just say Bronya doubles Silly's damage or doubles any DPS that she pairs up with. So for example, now Silly with Bronya, she's now dealing 200,000 damage. And then you throw in another multiplier on top of that, like a Tingyun or like a Pella, and then now her final damage output is doubled again. Okay, but like I said, this number is just coming off my ass. Yeah, but so now she's dealing 400,000 damage over the course of I don't know how many turns. So in my opinion, for a sub DPS comp to actually function, that sub DPS needs to be able to deal the same amount of damage, which is basically 200,000, without relying on supports. So for example, you're still gonna definitely run one support on your team, right? So your one support, like either Bronya, Pella, or maybe Tingyun, Asta, Yukong, all these kind of things that maybe can buff your sub DPS. So now your final damage output, it needs to be high enough to warrant you not use two supports and the hypercarry comp. And the reason why I say it needs to be at least
strong enough to achieve this is because introducing sub DPS to a comp, it unnecessarily adds another added layer of like variance or like standard deviation from your damage outcome, because you now need to account for what if she crits, what if she don't crit, what if she gets hit by the enemy, what if she don't, and all the energy calculation, compared to if you just need to care about one hypercarry, you just need to make sure that all your support buffs go on the hypercarry, and you just need to care about whether the hypercarry crits or don't crit, and supports they're 100%, right? Use a skill is definitely going to go on the buff, whereas for sub DPS, sometimes they crit, sometimes they don't crit, sometimes Blake gets a follow-up and hit, and he loses follow-up, sometimes doesn't get hit, so sometimes Clara gets hit, so like that's why I say like for the sub DPS to truly outperform like a current hypercarry comp, they need to do so much damage to the point where, okay, now both of these two DPSs are dealing to the point where it not vastly but at least outperforms a hypercarry to a reasonable amount, and it's comfortable enough to use them and don't have to reset for crits and all this kind of stuff. As of right now, I think it's a bit hard to see whether it's viable, because I still think the game right now is pretty damn easy. You can run it with whatever comp you want now. But in the future, maybe when there's more content that really have like a very strict DPS requirement, like you really need to do this amount of damage or you're gonna die, then we'll really see whether sub DPS comp is gonna be able to function or compete with like the current hypercarry, which I still think is really good. Even if we want to include Topaz, even if we want to include Clara, I still think hypercarry is still gonna be like a lot stronger, because we have so many good hypercarry. We just got Jingliu, Imbibitor Lune, Sile, all this kind of stuff. There's super good hypercarries. So I haven't seen a sub DPS that can stand to rival against them. Not really because Hypercarry is so strong, but just because most of our strongest supports, they really just buff that one unit. Like Bronya is super good, Tinu is super good, right? Asta and Yukong, yeah, they're pretty good. They can buff your entire team. Pella can defense shred, but compared to Tinu and Bronya, they're just not as strong in terms of like how much damage you can increase. So yeah, okay, that was the fucking long. Okay, yeah.
To add on to that, when we see, like, we have to be careful, because if you see, the dual DPS comps work, it's more a matter of overinvestment rather than they're synergizing. Like, both units are so hyper invested that they're just going to do a lot of damage and it looks like it's good, but oftentimes just having that one hypercarry will still be a more effective comp.
Yeah.
What about the situation in regards to the damage might be a little bit lower, or it might be a slight bit lower than the hyper carry, but what about the shield shredding? Because you have characters like Jingliu, Blade, Clara, Herda, these characters that are like crazy with shield shredding. They immediately like destroy whatever left is the shield that the hyper carry already took out. What about them breaking the shield and delaying the turn, or giving freeze, or giving a dot, or something like that? In that regard, is it still not worth it enough to be able to just have that sub DPS there to just crack out the shield? Because we have those characters that just instantly destroy those shields by themselves, and now having another character to help them with that, they're gonna get the break off no matter what. So do you think that's not worth it as well?
I think that brings on the second point of why dual DPS is kind of hard. You need to element match twice, right? And not every fight will have matching elements for both your damage dealers. So that's why hypercarry is also easier to run. You don't need to build multiple.
I think to add on to that, not even just that you need to make sure they match, but with the shield shredding, they have to do it incredibly well, like super strong. So I think if we were to look at this from the realistic point of view, and then I guess like what we're able to do, whales, dolphins, content creators, whatever the case might be. And then there are obviously other people that do that too, but the majority of players cannot do what we typically do, right? Like the first zero cycle with Jingliu was what, a couple weeks ago, something like that. And that was something that the normal player could not do. So all of Jingliu main Reddit cannot zero cycle with Jingliu, but they use that as their.
Oh no!
Oh no, we're getting canceled.
Not this.
No, listen. I'm just saying, right? All of them cannot do it. If they could, we would have seen this months ago. So now we're here, where the outlier, the 1%, is able to do zero cycles. Then beyond zero cycles are what, somewhere between 1 to 3 cycles. I'll even say 2. Somewhere between 2 to 4 cycles is I'll say it's pretty average, pretty normal, right? 2, maybe 5 cycles, somewhere around there is pretty average. Most people are content with that, but that's still a really good goal to go for, because outside of that, I've watched casual people play the game. I've watched, people that they have level 80 characters, they're building their team properly. Maybe they don't understand what to do, when to do it, or maybe they don't have a certain character. They don't have E6 Yukong, whatever. Their average clear time is just right before the cutoff. So what's the cutoff now? Like
20, isn't it?
16?
20 now?
Is it 20 turns? It's either 20 or 14. I don't remember what it is, but whatever that is, their cutoff time is like right before that, and they're fine. They're good with that. If
Mhm.
they get it 3 stars, they're content. But shaving down those turns to get as low as possible, most of them don't care, and most the other people can't do it, which is fine. It's not like a knock to anybody. Hypercarry allows you to get as close to that as possible. Having the double DPS or any other comp that isn't hypercarry, when I speak on that, I'm speaking on that more so or more less of what we can do, right? Less of the whale, the dolphin, whatever, and more along the lines of like the average player and your enjoyment on how you can do this. For me, I would have more enjoyment if, let's say, Jingliu, boom, lightning lure comes out, and I blow through all their shields, and then my main DPS just annihilates every single character back to back to back to back. That's more fun for me, right? Than just hyper boosting my Zila and watching her take something out one to two at a time versus working as a team. I got to pull off, like we mentioned earlier, combos. Lightning Lord takes out their shields. Ting Yun buffs Zila, or maybe Bronya buffs Zila because I'm using like a slow Bronya. Bronya brings Zila to the front, and then now I'm like gagoosh, gagoosh, gagoosh. Like I'm cool. I like stuff like that. I think other people like that too, but I can't speak for everybody in regards to that. What the bro? Yo, Google, nobody's talking to you. How do they do that? My house is bugged. There's no way because I'm talking to you guys about Star Rail and she's over here talking about answering questions that I didn't even ask her. What do you know about Star Rail? You don't know anything about Star Rail, man. Come on now. But yeah, I lost it all after that, man. So
You lost
that
it
point
after
being,
Google?
I know like she threw me off because I was talking to y'all, and then out of nowhere, the Star Rail of something something does blah blah blah, and I'm like, who the fuck are
Oh
you?
yeah, bro. You got hacked. It was me.
Yeah, all right, man. Anyhow, that would probably be it, right? The double DPS comp is good. I like it, but I think hyper carry is it's easier to do because you're already building those supports anyway, and you don't have to focus about 2 DPS characters or having multiple. And then it's easier and not easy. I'll say that for like the casual player. And but it's easier to pilot. That's a better way to say that. It's easier to pilot because you don't have to worry about the combo. You just need to worry about this one character doing all the damage. So you need to figure out how they're going to get the damage. That's way easier to pilot than I need to set it up in speed tune so that my shield breaker goes before my main DPS. My main DPS still needs to be just as fast and whatever else. So that
I guess this is a topic we can revisit when we get a support that AoE buffs, because we only have, I guess you could say, Yukong, but not a lot of people use Yukong in that way, where they have the bowstrings and then they use the ult and you get the crit damage off of it because it's so like restrictive, unless you have E6, of course.
dude, an AoE buffer would be freaking.
And then
cracked.
Bronya, I think she's the only other one that can AoE buff with her ultimate. But of course, you're only getting crit damage multiplier and not a damage multiplier like Tingyun, like Bronya on her skill do. So I guess that's, that one condition. We wait for that because when we do get an AoE buffer, that will help out the situation. But really quick before we leave this topic, and we'll carry on to the next one, I feel like the hyper carry teams we're talking about, in my honest opinion, don't really align in what this is what I'm thinking. I don't know 100%, but we know not everyone has Bronya, and we know not everyone has E6 Yukong. Some people are unfortunate, don't have Tingyun, or they don't have high Eidolons and Tingyun. Can we say they can really make a good hyper carry team with all, like, Bronya is a number one for sure. Like, unless you use your 300 or you get unlucky or lucky on your 50-50, then you have Bronya. For the most part, a lot of people don't have Bronya. Same thing with E6 Yukong, which a lot of people use to Omega boost some characters. You only guarantee one copy, and her at her base, she is very restrictive in how you use her. Like, you need to fine tune the heck out of her to be able to use her bowstring with her ult buff. Are we being reasonable when talking about hyper carry teams? As if they can build both?
Everyone has Bronya.
Yeah, everyone has Bronya.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people in the comments are like, I spent 1,000 pulls on the standard banner and I accidentally clicked on Japard. I don't have Bronya. but realistically, having the supports for that, especially for both sides of MOC, for like free-to-play players, I don't think they have enough resources or the characters to be able to build 2 straight-up hyper carry teams. Wouldn't it be more beneficial for them to work on the sub-DPS? Because we're assuming that they have like all of them. Talking about E6 Yukong, Bronya, Tingyun.
If you work on a support, you can use them with any DPS that you build in the future as well, though. So from an
Mhm.
investment standpoint, like building your Silver Wolf or Asta, Pella, Tingyun, you can use them for pretty much every team.
Mhm.
How many of those do we have though to spread across
Yeah,
both teams?
because Pella is
Oh, sorry, can I
limited.
just interject real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Technically we do have like this was back to the point just now, but I didn't want to interrupt. So like
No, you're.
I think we have quite a few decent like AoE supports. Like Asta I think is really, really good, especially for DOT hypercarry. Asta is like pretty much like, super good. You have more speed, more attack. Super good for like half cast and body comps, that's one. And technically like strictly speaking, Pella and Silverwolf, they're also really, really good as like a sub DPS support, because like once you differentiate one target, all your DPS can just go ahead and whack that guy, because the guy has the same debuff, so you don't have to buff both your team, you just need to debuff that one target. So going forward, I think if we get more and more debuffers, I think there's gonna be more flexibility for like the sub DPS comps, because you don't have to buff both, you just need to debuff all of them, and then your DPS can just go ham. But that's it. Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
All right, we can move on to the next one because we've been on this sub DPS one for a very long time. And I do want to tackle this one topic that I've heard Pokey talk about before, because he called it Omega Copium when Imbibitor came out, and I want to revisit it now because it's actually a team that could be possible now with Jingliu. Is it worth it to build a mono element team that's not Quantum? Because I know Pokey was like, if you're trying to run imaginary mono, you're on Copium. That's not happening. That man was
Yeah, you're on
like, that
Copium,
is
bro.
not where
And
that
I
is.
still stand by that. I still stand by that.
So
Whenever
is
I
it?
think
So if you have an E6 launch, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, he's like, yes, actually, it is good for.
Actually?
Actually, if you have E6 Locha, it's probably the best team in the game. But with Mono Ice being a thing now, because now you have Jingliu, you could use Silverwolf, or you could use Herda with Japard, and I don't know, you could throw in those other characters. Because Silverwolf, huh?
I have a counter.
What?
You say now that Jingliu's here, we have mono ice. Are we just gonna betray Yang Ching like this?
Oh my god,
Dude,
my
Well,
God.
even I think for me
Bro.
with both, right? I think it's a little easier. How do I put it? It's easier to do what I would consider a perma freeze comp, or like a 75% freeze comp with Yang Qing, but it's harder to get the fast clears. If Jingliu had freeze on her actual skills, or even her ult outside of breaking, perma freeze with her would be almost guaranteed all the time. I think Quantum is definitely the best like mono thing to do.
Oh, 100%. There's no debate.
Yeah.
You'll always be number one, in my honest opinion.
And then, well, fire could work if they made fire's like secondary thing, the fire kiss effect or something similar. I would like fire. Excuse me. But outside of that, because that's just, my imagination, ice is the next one. If you can perma freeze them. But the problem with that is that your team needs to be way faster than the enemy. They also need to be way stronger. And you need to be able to 0 to 2 cycle whatever it is. Because it doesn't work in a long drawn out fight, because the way that freezing works, every time they're unfrozen, their speed goes up, or their action order goes up by like 1.5 or something like that, until they actually get to take their turn. And nobody in the game is that fast to stop that from happening. You would have to combine freeze with imprisonment and just completely negate their turn. So I guess maybe like a duo ice,
This man with dual
duo
element.
imaginary, bro. Because if you froze them, and then as soon as they got out, you imprison them, GG's. And you froze them again. Oh, that'd be sick.
Well,
Yeah, I like
propaganda. All
I
right.
like that idea.
Artumbo, what do you think about mono teams that aren't Quantum? Are they Copium or are they worth it?
I think even mono quantum is pretty copium. Right?
Whoa, no, wait, explain? Really? Mono Quantum is Copium?
Like mono quantum, and then replacing that. So mono quantum is a team with Fushuan, Silverwolf. You have your Qingque, and then Zila as your skill point generator, right? So I think.
Hold on, I think you got it twisted. Hold on. Yeah, I just heard that wrong. He said sell it with the skill point generator. Chill out.
I think
Hey,
you're better
man.
off running of course, you're better off running a Bronya or Tingyun in one of those DPS slots. But until we get a Harmony Quantum unit, I think even Mono Quantum is it'll work because you can guarantee weakness and
Really?
plant both sides. It's efficient, but it's just not that great compared to element match teams.
Really? That's insane. I think you're the first person I've ever heard Mono Quantum be like, everyone, in my opinion, unless someone has other opinion close to yours, saying that Mono Quantum is I was like, wow. Because when I see Mono Quantum, I think about Cele has Res Pen on her Resurgent state. She has, I think, she has Ignore Defense on her Relic. That's by far one of the most busted things in the world, to have that defense ignore on the Relic. For the Quantum Res Pen, for her own attack boost or her damage boost. You have Silver Wolf with her defense down. Fushwen is busted as heck. It's just overall all the things that go into Mono Quantum. I never would have thought anyone would say it'd be like, yeah, you don't really gotta run it. That's actually insane. Pokey, what do you think about that? Mono Quantum? Is it worth at this point?
I think for new players, it'll always be worth just because of how much resources it save you. You can just force fight a stage, or at least technically you could force fight a stage with like off element. Like you mentioned, Vimro did it with Sele, completely off element without Silverwolf. I mean, it's still possible. It helps to reduce the barrier to entry for force fighting a stage um by a lot to the new players. I think that the resource saving perspective is really, really good. But if you want to talk about like absolute performance, like how much damage they do, then I gotta agree that like Mono Quantum isn't meant to build to like deal the highest damage possible. Because if you want to do the highest damage possible, you need more supports, and we don't have. Oh my god, I almost said her name. We don't have good
That's
enough.
crazy.
Yeah, we don't have good enough quantum supports right now, so we are really lacking like the amount of like supports that can make this work. Because right now the only support we have is basically Silverwolf, and I don't think she's enough. And it also kind of goes back into the whole sub DPS thing. I'd rather just drop QQ and get a brand new support that can just buff up my quantum team, buff up my main DPS, and just do way more damage instead of
You mean
having like a
drop
sub
Sealer,
DPS.
right?
Ain't no way, this dude. The Ching
No
Chui
comments,
main,
bro.
bro. Let's go.
Yeah, but yeah, and for the most part, the only reason to ever run mono element in this game is just to make sure that you clear that you match the right weakness, and that's why I think quantum is so good because it forces the right weakness every single time. But like for all other stages, you really just need your main DPS to be the right element. Because do you really care if your support is off element? Since you're not gonna be doing anything anyways, they're just gonna be buffing your main DPS. Do you really care if your sustain is the right element? Also not, because they're just gonna be there to generate skill points and hit your team. So as long as your main DPS is on the right element, I think that's fine. Which is why like Bronya, Tingyun, Basta, they can be ran like all over the place just because they are not there to deal damage to the enemy. They're just there to just buff up your main DPS. Which I guess it also ties back to, oh my god, I keep going back to the sub DPS, but like there's also another issue with sub DPS, right? Because you need to build the right element, like what Artumbo said just now. If you're not on the right element, then they're not gonna deal the toughness bar damage, and they're gonna be very, very annoying. Whereas like as long as you run supports, all you need to care about is your main DPS to be on the right element, and you're good. So that's why the only reason I would ever imagine anybody want to run mono element team is just for quantum, for Silverwolf to implant the quantum weakness. Every other element, I just think that there's a much better alternative because there's no reason for you to run mono element. It's not like AFK Arena, you get like a faction boost or some shit, right? But like, yeah, that's my take.
All right. Destiny, what do you think about mono teams? Are they copium? Is mono quantum copium? Do you think you should just be better off doing regular element stuff that's not mono quantum or not mono teams at all?
It depends really because I like using mono quantum because of how strong it is, like in general. Plus, I feel like the team just, in my opinion, goes well together. But I don't know. I guess it kind of just depends because I wouldn't do a mono team for every element, in my personal opinion, unless like there was always characters that could enable it. But in reality, yeah, I do agree with Poke with the fact that like the damage dealer being the correct element is absolutely the most important thing because I mean everyone, typically speaking, who has a Bronya uses their Bronya. That the enemy doesn't have to be wind weak. Like we still use Bronya.
That is true.
So we'll still use Tingyun or we'll still use Pela. Like we don't care about the damage they per se inflict, unless I guess we're trying to do an Artumbo build. Then it's a different story. Where's the DPS Bronya?
Yes, sir.
He's gone.
Yeah,
No, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, but that's all it really is. I think as long as the main damage dealer is the same element. But I mean, all that matters, I guess, is just if the team is doing what you need it to, that's what matters the most. Whether it's a mono element or not, it doesn't really matter. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, unless you just really like seeing like all the same element. But I mean, it just depends because I feel like some cases where I guess mono would be really good is if we could have like a perfect synergy type of ice team. Some people already have been trying to like, do it with like maybe Yangqing, Pela, Japard. Japard and Yangqing is really good. Pela is really good with them. And then whatever else you decide for the last one. But I guess it just depends because all the elements have different inflictions that they could put onto an enemy. So freezing the enemies and doing like if they're like the possibility of perma freeze, for instance, that would be really like cool to do. Whether or not like it's fast and clearing is a different story, but regardless, it's just cool little things you could do if you do have a lot of the same element. Like if you were to entangle all the enemies and then did AoE damage on them like constantly before they go down, then it would probably be really cool to do. But it just depends. I don't think it's like a detriment though. Like I don't think you have to do it or you don't have to do it. Just up to you.
In my personal opinion, was somebody else saying something?
Oh, I just want to say I do want to backtrack on what I said about monoquantum being copium, not in the sense that
Sailor mains are like
it's definitely in terms of pull value, it's a very strong team, especially as we've all said about beginner players, because you don't need to heavily invest into so many characters. But yeah, if we're talking from a top meta perspective, sure. But I think for most people, it's a good team.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna base my opinion on, because it in my honest opinion, I think once you pull Mono Quantum, that is forever a sight on Memory of Chaos. It does not matter what happens, you will always be able to inflict quantum. And whenever we do get a quantum harmony unit, it's just gonna be over, because Cele is just overall busted with her stuff, with Resurgence, with her having quantum pen, with her relics giving her ignore defense. She's gonna be able to brute force for as long as this game is, in my honest opinion, unless they come out with some absurd health enemies that just is impossible to like kill. Even the ads are impossible to kill. At that point, then maybe she'll be phased out, but then we'll have the next quantum DPS. Overall, just having the ignore defense on the relic set period, and then adding Silverwolf with defense down, with all those other what?
No, I said yeah.
Oh, Silverwolf with the defense down and implanting and speed down, all that type of stuff. Fushwin or Lynx, they have their crazy things. Fushwin ignore CC. Lynx has ignore CC on her Eidolons as well. You have a lot of different options that they're all benefiting so much that even if you use Cele for however long you're going to use her, Mono Quantum will forever be that one team. And you're going to be able to use it for as long as Hoyoverse lets us. Because if they decide to ramp it up absurdly high, then maybe it'll end up happening. But when it comes to a team as a whole, I think that's the most profit heavy, like not profit heavy, but the most investment heavy team you could possibly get. Yeah, like you will forever be able to use that team, and you don't have to spend for that one side. You will just be able to build the other team, and then you're good. Like that's if you wanted to be save money type of player. You would need Mono Quantum. That's forever one side, and then whatever other team you want to use on the other side, in all honesty. So in my opinion, I think Mono Quantum is way too crazy. I think that team is omega cool. Other team elements, I don't know. And I think it's also Copium for the other teams, because they don't have, in my opinion, as strong of a relic as Quantum. I think Quantum's relic set is just way too busted. They were clearly favoritizing Cele when making that. They're like, we're gonna give her ignore defense, and we're gonna give Lightning attack buff. Like that's all we're gonna give them. Like it's insane how much of a difference the relic is from that to every other relic in the game, in my honest opinion. Besides the HP one, that one's pretty correct too. So for the last topic that we're gonna have, because I've kept them all for too long, of course. With Artumbo here, we're gonna make it a kind of Artumbo type question with the most underrated unit that people need to try out. All right, because I know you've tried and tested them all. All right, so which one do you think everyone should start trying to build that no one's ever talked about? People don't use. People are like hearing stuff like you shouldn't build them. They're not that good. Who do you think is like, nah, this dude is the gold right here?
Who goes first?
Come back to me after.
Ain't no way.
Artumbo don't know how to answer.
Artumbo can't answer the Artumbo question. Eo, who's your underrated pick that people should start looking at?
Who's on the game? Hold on.
That's on my.
No, like for real. It's like you got to think about who's actually underrated.
The people you don't play.
Oh my god.
What's the website we go to?
That's crazy. Destiny, do you have your answer?
Wait, go ahead. Do you have it?
Artumbo?
So I think everyone agrees she's strong, but I think she's still very underrated,
Mm-hmm.
and that character would be Clara.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say
Oh,
Clara.
absolutely.
I actually think she's one of the best units in the game, like
Oh,
from a meta
1000%.
perspective. Like she's
Thank you.
actually that cracked.
Yeah, she's insane.
Yeah,
Bro,
I could agree with that.
the amount of people in my comments that tell me I built my Clara and she does 2 damage. I'm like, no, 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 you're doing
Oh,
something wrong
heck
because
no.
there ain't no way. Yeah, no, every time I look at a tier list, I'm like, Clara should be at least right here. Make a Clara tier at this point, cause what's going on?
Nah, Clara is insane. She's one of the first characters I looked at when I saw like she's a tank, so that's already very beneficial. Not only is she a
Yeah.
tank, she does the damage back. And when you have a well-built Clara doing 40k follow-ups and then hitting adjacent, that's absolutely insanity. And then she has the AoE skill. She can crack shields like crazy. There is a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that Clara does that is just insane how many people overlook her.
Mm-hmm.
She just does way too
Yeah.
much.
I think for what Art just said, I'd have to agree with Clara, but I don't. I don't know. It's weird for me to say like not that Clara is not underrated. I do agree with that, but I don't think I have an underrated anymore.
Really?
I've proven they're not underrated. Like eventually I'll say a character is like cracked or broken or underrated or whatever, and then I'll get a lot of flack or combative about it, and then weeks later down the road, someone else says it's cracked, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, this character's top tier. And I'll just straight up go down the list. First, it was Yang Xing. Early on, I said Yang Xing's busted. I said Freeze is very strong, especially like right now when the game had no one had 5-star relics. We didn't have level 80 characters. The game wasn't too difficult, but it was difficult enough to where like if you wanted to go through MOC, you had to find ways to cheese MOC so that you could beat MOC. Freeze was absolutely disgusting for that. No, man, Yang Xing's trash. He's not that good. All right. All of a sudden, Yang Xing permafreeze bullshit that I put out in the map. Oh yeah, wait, no. If you have Japar with Yang Xing, he's easily like top 2 teams in the game right now. All right, there you go. So now everybody wants Yang Xing. That was number 1. Number 2 was Silverwolf. Everyone doubted me on Silverwolf. Not everybody, but the other creators doubted me on Silverwolf, which then turned into the community. Oh yeah, Silverwolf's gonna be bad. Why do I need a character that cheats the game when I could just pull the appropriate
pull the
DPS
element.
character? Yeah, just win the 50-50 for free with your free Jades. Oh yeah, sure, for sure. Everybody's gonna be able to do that, bro. No problem. Ignoring her defense reduction, her the quantum or defense penetration she had in the game, the quantum relic set itself, the free light cone that she was getting, plus her own light cone, all these things that were in her favor. And I'm like, this is easily one of the best, if not the best character in the game. That's why I said she was a must pull. Nope, it didn't matter. Okay, cool. Silverwolf comes out, everybody loses their fucking mind. Damn, this character's broken. She shouldn't be in the game. She's breaking the game. Even Tectone says it. She literally cheats the game. I don't want her. I don't want her because she makes the game feel like I'm cheating. Cool, you got it. Who else? We're going down the list here. Su Shang. I said Su Shang was really, really, really strong. Moon was the one that showed me that. And then we figured out the old skill BS. And I'm like, okay, that plus her break plus bleed. Okay, yeah, just do break and crit damage and you're good to go. Nah, dude, Su Shang's trash. Okay. Now everybody wants to use Su Shang. We went down to Arlen. He's Pela before Arlen. Pela.
I know Pela was super slept on early. I don't know how people forgot about Pela.
When you bring in something where a mass majority of players repeat they parrot information from their favorite creators or redditors or whatever, they're parroting bad information. I don't want to call it misinformation. It's just bad. And so when you play a lot of RPGs, especially JRPGs, and then you see something with like defense reduction, whatever. And a really good example of this would be Pokemon. In Pokemon, we can all attest to this. As we're growing up, we're kids, we're playing the game. I didn't give a fuck about using Growl, Tail Whip, Howl, Swords Dance.
Gone.
Yeah, if it didn't do damage, it's out of here. I'm not using that. And that stayed that way up until I got into competitive Pokemon. And I learned like the importance of I'm dropping your defenses by 2. I don't care. Now I'm getting one shot by a tackle attack. Whoa, you're cheating. How did you do that? Someone had to teach me the importance of defense values or like stat values, raising my stats by 2. If your attack is already 312 and you boosted by 2 times, well, what does that mean? Oh, I don't know. Do math. All right, cool. Now I'm doing 600 something damage or whatever. Oh, no, it doesn't work that way. What do you mean? Yeah, you have to do the first one and then you multiply that by that. Oh shit. Okay, so I really have like 700 something attack. Yes. Now do that with like agility. It boosts your speed. And speed was broken in Gen 1. If you were so fast, you could move 2 or 3 times before your actual opponent even got to do their thing. So I'm like, all right, bro, that's cracked. All these different things applied. You put it in Star Rail. Pela, defense reduction, Silverwolf, defense reduction, defense penetration, speed boosting, action value stuff, all this different things that applied to the game itself. Why would they not be good? You know, I'm like, Pela has an AoE thing, defense reduction across the board. Then you get her E4. It's super easy to get these Eidolons or these 4-star characters because they keep putting them on the same banner. So now you have E4 Pela, ice penetration, Yang Xing, boom, that right there. Jingliu, boom, right there. Why was she slept on? Because she wasn't a 5-star DPS character. She wasn't a Bronya. She didn't help you do these things that people were fascinated about. More people were excited about Welt and like how he was oh yeah, Welt's top 3 in the game. What? Like Pela,
Hey, yo,
kill
chill on my boy
thing.
Will. Chill on
No,
my
no, no.
boy
I'm not even
Will.
dissing Welt. I'm not even dissing Welt. It was the fact that like they were more fascinated by it because Welt wasn't a day one. Everybody's like loving Welt. It took a bit. It took a little bit for people to like look at Welt and be like, oh yeah, he's really good. Their thing was he was the only imaginary character, so he was
Oh
strong
yeah,
by
that
default.
was the
And I'm
number one
like, that
thing.
doesn't automatically make him like the one you should be aiming for. Japard with his shields and like, oh yeah, if you have a properly built Japard, you just never get touched. Nah, man, you want heals, you want this, you want that. All right, cool, whatever. The last character is Arlen. That would literally be the only character in the game right now that I would see as slept on, that people refuse to look at them that way. And I understand to make Arlen work, I think it's a lightning character thing. It takes more work. It
The
takes so
lightning
much more work.
character thing.
Yeah. Ting Yun's the only one that doesn't require that.
Kafka question
Um,
mark.
Paco requires like medium investment, medium investment compared to the rest of the cast. Arlen, it feels like what you need E6 because that's where a lot of his damage is packed up. You want S3 or higher Secret Vow or an even stronger Lightcone, but Secret Vow is just way too good for him. You need the crit damage. You want the attack to be like 3K. You want the either Lightning Relic set or the Musketeer set, which is really just Lightning set though, to be honest. And then you want to be at 1 HP. Oh, and you also can't die. So you want Japar. It's another Yang Qing situation, but worse, right? You have all these different rules Arlen needs to follow. But when you get it, oh yeah, he's popping 150k per skill shot or 120k per skill shot. Bronya boost. Okay, I'm doing 200 something k per skill shot. Oh, she gave me the ult. All right, you're dead. It's like that. So he's definitely slept on. Do I want to do the work to make him, whatever? Absolutely not, bro. I have 5-star characters. But
That's
if I
crazy.
didn't,
That man was like, I
if
don't
I
deal with
didn't,
brokey junk.
that's what I would be working on. So yeah.
If you ever want to see it, you want to see how Arlen cracked out, go look at Artumbo's newest video. Cause golly, some of y'all, I'm not lying. If you see that Arlen damage that Artumbo brought out, that it was insane. Bro. He's doing like Jingliu damage with no skill
Yeah.
points. No skill points
Dude,
because he doesn't
man,
take any.
I'm telling you, there's some crazy good characters in the game. They just be doing stupid stuff.
Man, Pokey, you have an underrated character in the game right now that you think people don't use enough?
Yo, Himiko, for real.
Oh, bro,
All
I
right,
think
E0 or like E99 Himiko.
that's correct.
Like literally E0 Himiko, I think she's so fucking good, and like
You gotta teach me.
everybody in the PvP community is like she's really really good because right now there's so many mobs and the follow up attacks is literally it's like free damage. You just need to break the dude and then she just hits for like 20k, 30k, 40k, and then you break another time it just goes on and it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't get any action value. She's what Lightning Lord wishes to be.
You have to
That's
after when
crazy.
you get
No,
the time
you know
play, show
the
me
best thing
show me
about
how to build my
Himiko
Himiko.
is she
The what?
doesn't need a really good Lightcone either. She's got a lot more options compared to like
Mhm.
Jingyuan. Well, she
That's
still does well with
crazy.
Jingyuan's Lightcone. No, not saying
Jingliu mains. Oh my god.
no.
Forget it.
Jingyuan is still insanely strong, right?
Mhm.
But she doesn't like she can use her own signature. She can use breakfast. Genius's repose is really cracked on
Oh,
her.
heck
Like
yeah.
she can tank enemies.
Yeah, I was saying that after when you get the time poke, teach me how you build your Himiko. Because
Himiko?
I've
It's
been
literally
I've been cursed. I have an E2, so she has to.
It's literally the same. Do I have an E2 Himiko as well? I got it from Fu Shen's banner. Yeah, but
Hey,
you just
dude.
build her. Yeah, you build her like exactly how you would build like a slow DPS like Silly. Just select attack, crit rate, and crit damage, and you're done. She doesn't need
Okay.
speed because all the follow-up just slaps, and she's not really unless you do her as a main DPS and you kind of want some speed. But then again, if you are only main DPS and you can pair up with Bronya, then she doesn't need speed. So most of the time you don't need speed. So just hit like I don't know, like 3k attack, 70 crit rate, and like 150 crit damage. She'll be dealing so much damage, and it's like for free. She's probably one of the better sub DPSs out there. Not as strong as Clara, I would say, but she's still really, really good out there. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Oh yeah,
think
we're gonna make that work then.
I
I'm gonna
think
try and build that after this.
I think Herda's up
Sure.
there too. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, Herda's been doing some
We've seen
absurd
her
stuff.
though. She's
Oh,
not
yeah,
slept
Herda
on
is
no
like kind
more.
of inflated. It's like right now there's so many Ice Week. That's why like her MOC 10 phase 1, she looks really, really good. But I think in the future it might not be that
Mm.
great.
I just seen
For now,
so
for now.
much stuff on her, but I'm like, golly, like she's over here twirling for like 50 times and she's like knocking everyone out. I'm like, oh my god, that looks so cool. I'm not gonna lie. Arlen and Herda have been by far one of my wanted to build most characters for sure. I'm just still building Tingyun and still building Tingyun and Luca out because I still want to get them where I want them to be. Destiny, did you already answer with Clara or do you have something else?
No, that was Artumbo.
Oh, what was yours then?
I kind of have a list, but Clara is like one of my top ones for sure. And like, you know what? At this point, I need to push the Clara propaganda. If you guys see me spam Clara stuff soon, yeah, the propaganda's happening. But Clara is really, really good. I think she's about to get way better, but that'll be saved for another time. I think definitely Clara. Let me look. I got all the characters pulled up, so I'm looking. I agree 100% with Pela. Pela has always kind of been like kind of slept on. Like even in my recent video, I made a video about Jingliu and Pela exclusively, and a lot of people in my comments, I was actually kind of surprised. They said this is the video that convinced them to build Pela. Like they did not actually build Pela prior to this, and I just gave like a mini build suggestion, but like people don't build Pela. And it's like, okay, I think most of us have at least one Pela. Like even at E0, you can literally build her. Like she's still like the main thing that is great about her is just the AoE defense reduction is just so powerful. So Pela is definitely up there. I'm not gonna lie, in MOC 10, and this might be Grimm's fault, I'm not gonna lie, but I've been using Pela more than Silverwolf now because of the AoE defense rather than only targeting one enemy. I like using Pela and Jingliu quite a lot because the AoE and then Jingliu just kind of like destroys whatever after Pela inflicts them. I also like I think Japard was a huge slept on character in the beginning, especially. What's funny is even I got him in the beta of CBT3 and I wasn't actually vibing with him too much. But then in late game, he's so good. Like even now, he is so freaking good. And I definitely think he gets his props now. Before he didn't, but him, I love Sampo personally. The only
Ain't
thing
no
is I
way.
mainly recommend Sampo on like the DOT teams. Otherwise, it's kind of like I tried him on other teams. I'm not the hugest fan, but like on DOT, really really good. I'm just looking through.
She got
Arlen,
the whole list. God dang.
right? No, I literally pulled up all the characters so I
There's so
don't
many
forget.
characters, man. There's so many.
Yeah, Arlen for sure. Um, he has the potential. It's just what's funny is I leveled up my Arlen to 70 and I got a lot of his traces up. I still need the relics though if I actually want to use him. Like he's
Genuine is
been
right there. Genuine
bro,
build.
I have already robbed those relics. I don't even know where they are at this point. Like
That's
I don't know if they're
insane.
still on him. I don't know where they are, but Arlen, okay. I don't know if she's slept on, but I feel like in comparison to the other buffers, people don't really value her as much. Do you guys feel like Yukon kind of gets pooped on just a little too much?
I don't think she gets pooped on like for I don't want to say like no reason, but I do think that because remember when we were like trying to make her work and like figure out like okay how do we buff two DPS characters without losing?
Yeah,
There's so much work you have to do with Yukong, and
yeah.
then you need E6. Like at this point, I do believe Yukong needs E6 in order to
Mhm.
properly function on most efficient teams. Because without E6, and it's just something simple, yeah. You know, when she uses her ult, it gives you another buff, but it makes it so that you don't have to prioritize constantly using skill to make sure your buffs are up.
Yeah.
You can just, okay, I have the ult. I know that I need to do X amount of damage this turn. Ult,
Yeah.
get the boost, and then pop everybody else's thing.
I
Cool.
think I think with Yukong though, maybe this is a little hot take like I think investing into her still is worth it though because the buffs she gives are massive. If you're lacking like certain stats, she gives you so much attack, crit rate, crit damage. I know the crit rate and crit damage is based on the ultimate and the stacks from that, but like if I'm not mistaken, let's say you did have the E6 and then you use skill, the skill gets used up maybe one time, but then like you use the ult to increase the duration. Pretty sure if I'm remembering correctly, because I don't have the game up right now, but it stays until you lose all those
Yeah, it
stacks
does.
after using ult. So I think what's funny is if you use Clara, it feels really smooth. Like I used to use Clara, Locha, and Yukong and Silverwolf, which Silverwolf can be interchangeable easily, but like for someone like Pela, but that team slaps. I'm not kidding. Like Yukong being able to do the buffs and then your Clara, typically speaking, most people have a slower Clara. So Clara doesn't actually take up that stack right away. The enemies hit her first, but then she'll
Ah,
still have the attack,
yeah,
the
I'm
crit
almost
rate and the
finished.
crit damage going on. So it benefits Clara like crazy. Like I've had my Clara hit crazy numbers. I've literally done a Yukong like DPS showcase before to show my DPS Yukong. But you can literally see that like Clara and Yukong have incredible synergy when you like speed tune it correctly. And the enemies, of course, hit Clara. So I think Yukong is a bit slept on, but I do agree with like the majority on the fact that she is a more situational character. Like it's a little harder to use her with Jingliu because of the advanced forwards, unless maybe I just need more speed. I haven't fully tested that yet, but I still think she's high value. But it just depends on your team ultimately. Sushang is really good too. Um, especially good. We got a free one recently, so people who did not have like a good DPS, they could easily just now build their free Sushang. I don't remember if that event is permanent for the Sushang, but
I know the event's
either way,
permanent, but I don't know if it still gives Sushang.
yeah, I don't know if it still gives Sushang, but she's good. Um,
A big L is that newer players like the PlayStation players, they don't get that Silverwolf Lightcone. That event's
yeah,
not there
I'm
for
That
them.
sucks for
hoping.
them.
I hope what they do, which if they do this, this will be awesome. If they could like rerun that event when she has a rerun, because that would be really
Ooh, that would be really good.
I don't know if Genshin does that. I don't
No, they
remember.
don't. They don't. They
No,
don't. They
never.
never
Okay.
rerun an event exclusive weapon before.
I hope Star Rail does that though. Or like yeah, like if they rerun the event and if you already have like you already did it, then I don't know what incentive they would give you in particular. But either way, like I still think being able to somehow get it in the future would be nice because I feel like it is a bit of a disservice to like the PlayStation only players because they just joined and they have no way to actually obtain that. It could just end up being one of those things like you had to be there, but I don't know. Um, this character isn't out, but I feel like she's gonna be so good one knife in. I am building that girl to the sun and beyond. I have such high hopes for her because of what she does, like that we know of so far with the fire kiss. I think
hmm
that's what it was called. I
Yeah.
have really high hopes for her. Like I think okay, my high hope. Oh my god, there's a plane flying over me. Go away.
No.
Yeah, literally. Okay. I think for Gwen Knife, and I think she'll be really good. Like I think she might be like Pela level good maybe because of the AoE fire kiss. But yeah, that's it. That'd be my list. I think. I think
She was
who
like,
else is,
she was like, I'm gonna
I
name
can't
every character in the list.
really yeah. No, I really can't think of who else is low tier that I wanna or not like or like slept on that I know about, but I mean, just for like a future, I think when Knifin is actually gonna be an incredible 4-star.
Nah, for
Hmm.
sure,
She better
100%.
be, or else this video's gonna or
Super
this
excited
podcast
for
gonna
her.
look bad. I mean,
No, I think she
better be.
definitely is with the
I think
it's
she's gonna
damage
be good.
taken buff, right? For the fire
Yes,
kiss.
which
Yeah.
is that multiplier is it's good.
Yeah, that's gonna be fire, especially if you like mix it up with Pela or something. But other than
Oh my
that,
god,
that's gonna be
we're cooking.
Omega damage per screenshot showcases. But after all of this that we've been talking about, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end of this podcast. And thank you so much, Artumbo, for guest starring in this podcast. Of course, anytime you want to come back to talk, we will welcome you with full arms. So thank you so much for coming by so much, Artumbo.
Thank you so much for having me.
And is there
Been
anything
a
you want?
pleasure.
Is there anything you want to plug before you leave, or anything you want to say?
I've got nothing, honestly. We got to pretty much say everything.
All right, I appreciate y'all so much. Everyone here, of course, for the time it takes to make these episodes, and Artumbo for coming by. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all in the next one, and peace.
Wiggity wiggity woo.
What's up, guys?
Yo, what is? Oh, we have the same idea.
Oh my god!
Yo, what is up, guys? Grim here.
Yo, what is up? Oh, I can't do this voice. It's hard.
Yo, what is up, guys? Grim here.